get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you was just a fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you. Choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you was just a fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back.
Ribbit. Hey, Grandma. Hey, hi. How you doing? All right. Let me say hi to the people. Today's a big day. Yo, what are you doing? A hole in one. Hi, Misty. Are you at work? How you doing? How are the peoples there? Grandma, can you hear me? Oh, Rowdy's here. Rowdy. How you doing? Okay, I don't know if I'm live on Facebook. I had to restart it 3 times back here during that song. So I don't know. Yes, that's wonderful. I love the elderly. Special people, very special to me. Even if I don't know them, they're all special. Hey, that reminds me. Okay, we got an elderly man missing. Let me bring up his flyer, as a matter of fact. It made me sad when I seen it. Hold on, my good people. Let me look. Grandma is ignoring me, and I don't know why. Sorry about that. She was trying to be me this morning, a little bit ago, but it didn't work. It didn't work out to her. Did not work out for her. Hold on. I gotta look for something. God, where'd it go? Oh, there he is. Okay, I found it. I gotta put this on my YouTube too. And I think, allegedly, or my opinion is, he must have dementia or something, you guys. Look at him. Missing, Edward Warren Fredrickson. Missing from Coos Bay, Oregon on May 24, 2024. He's 88 years old, 5'10", 160 pounds. He's got blue eyes, gray hair. He often wears that hat like he's wearing and a suit-style jacket. His vehicle has been located. So I was doing some research, and his vehicle was located running, but he's missing. Isn't that sad? Oh yeah, they're special. I have an auntie that was um, disabled. Oh my god, that makes me so sad, you guys. Let's find this man. Let's get his face out there. Oh, I suppose I better go share it on my. I was gonna do a video on him. All right, I got that ready. So we got pulled up Idaho's stream up. Wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a verdict today? But we got a lot in store here that we can do. We're gonna go messing around all over the internet. We're gonna cause some problems. What do you guys think about that? Just because. Just because I feel like it. Here, I'm gonna put that man up. So very sad. I've been trying to get back into the swing of how I do things because all I've been doing, but you guys know I've had a lot go on. Been doing trials instead of putting out all these missing people. I usually do 3 a day, but yeah, there's been a lot going on here. Okay, I put him on my wall. What's wrong with the phone? Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm talking a mile a minute here. So there he is. That sweet man. Sweet, sweet man is missing. Okay, when Grandma gets back here, we're going to talk about this lady. Her name is Tracy Taylor. I got body cam footage of she was charged with, these were her charges. Now it gets interesting here. Okay, her name is Tracy Taylor from Virginia. And this was last year, March 29th. She has 4 felonies. She got second degree murder, attempted second degree murder, use of a firearm, and commission of a felony, child endangerment, malicious discharging of a firearm, in an occupied dwelling. In the early morning hours of December 4th. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had the wrong date. Oh, let's see here. What's going on here? It will take them some time to sort of. I know. But we got Trump verdict watch. We got um that little boy, Grandma. What's that little boy? Treadmill Dad. We got him. I think one of my daughters are mad at me, you guys. It makes me sad. Huh. Kids nowadays. I tell my oldest daughter, you know what? You'll miss me when I'm gone. I can tell you that much. They all will. Don't say that. So if you're waiting for Grandma, we are going to go here real quick because nobody's watched this video and I just don't understand it. Why? Because it's not high profile yet? Believe me, she will be. I can just feel that one. Look, 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 look. All right. All right, I found it. Okay, this beautiful lady is missing. She's a mother of 4 in Cali, North Cal. Let me mute me. Hold on. This is missing Nikki Chang McCain. She was last seen 5/18/24. She's got brown eyes. She's got brown reddish hair. She's 5 feet, 100 pounds. She's 39 years old. Okay, it says here Nikki was last seen on 5/18/24. She was picked up at a home next to Wind River Casino in Redding, California, and dropped off at her home in Olinda Road, Anderson, California. She has not been seen since. Nikki's light pewter metallic 2002 Chevy Avalanche with California disabled plates, plate number DP154UT, is also missing. There's a decal with the words Harley Davidson across the back window. Oh, how scary. She's a mother of four, by the way. Anybody with info, call 530-245-6000. Scary.
I'm here, Kit, but I'm sneezing.
All right. So ain't she beautiful? But this is all the info. That's
Yeah, I
it.
saw that. I saw your post earlier.
Yeah, that's it. Let me see what's going on here. Anything good? Nope, nope. Okay.
Nope, I'm just sneezing my head off.
That's all right. Okay, so here's just a little description. We're not going to read this whole thing because everything that's oh, bless you. Everything that's in this info is in this body cam footage we're going to watch.
Okay, you need me to read anything or?
Oh,
a jury question the court received. The jurors identified a missing instruction, and I've discussed that with counsel. The court has now drafted a proposed new instruction. A few things I'll note, looking at the case law in the case, I'm citing a case Crawford versus State, and that's 160 Idaho 586 that indicates if a jury with its note indicates that there's any kind of a defect or gap in the instructions, then the trial court has the duty to give such additional instructions on the law as are reasonably necessary to alleviate the jury's doubt or confusion. I'll also note that Idaho Criminal Rule 30C states that the court may further instruct the jury after deliberations have begun, either in writing or explain the instructions in open court, and further instruction or explanation must be made part of the record. So we are going to put that on the record. In addition, Idaho Code 192204 allows for the jury to return after they've retired for deliberation to address a question such as the one that's been posed here by the jury foreperson. So in order to address the question, then I'll note on the record, I've advised counsel and shown them the question the court received. I'm going to have the jurors return, and the court has now drafted an additional instruction, which is jury instruction number 42. And that is an instruction relating to the elements as they relate to count 6 of the amended indictment. So beginning with the state then, has the state had an opportunity to review the instruction number 42?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any objection to the court reading that instruction to the jurors at this time?
No objection.
Has the defense been able to review instruction number 42?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is there any objection from the defense to the court reading the instruction at this time?
There is no objection to the court reading the instruction at this time.
Okay, thank you, counsel. We'll have the jurors return then, and that will include the alternate jurors as well. The court will go through the reading of instruction 42, and one additional original copy of the instruction will be provided to the jurors with their instruction packet, along with courtesy copies they'll have of this new instruction. So, Mr. Bailiff, if you would please have the jurors return to the courtroom at this time.
All right, please.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The court received a jury question from the presiding juror, and the question states as follows, quote, Judge Boyce, as to count 6, is there an instruction listing the elements? The court went back and reviewed the instructions you were provided, and despite best efforts to give you all the necessary instructions, in fact, you were not provided an instruction as you've requested and should have been. So for that reason, the court now is giving you one additional instruction that you may consider in your deliberations, and that is now instruction number 42. So the court will now read through instruction number 42, and after it's been read through, you'll be able to continue with your deliberations. So jury instruction number 42 reads as follows. In order for the defendant to be guilty of first-degree murder as alleged in count 6 of the amended indictment, the state must prove each of the following. 1, on October 2019. 2, in the state of Idaho. 3, the defendant, Chaddy Daybell, engaged in conduct or did aid, abet, advise, or procure another to engage in conduct which caused the death of Tammy Daybell. 4, with malice aforethought. And 5, the murder was a willful, deliberate, and premeditated killing. Premeditation means to consider beforehand whether to kill or not to kill, and then to decide to kill. There does not have to be any appreciable period of time during which the decision to kill was considered, as long as it was reflected upon before the decision was made. A mere unconsidered and rash impulse, even though it includes an intent to kill, is not premeditation. Aiding and abetting is defined as follows: all persons who participate in a crime either before or during its commission by intentionally aiding, abetting, advising, or counseling another to commit the crime with intent to promote or assist in its commission are guilty of the crime. All such participants are considered principals in the commission of the crime. The participation of each defendant in the crime must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. If you find that the state has failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt any of the elements 1 through 4 above, or failed to prove any of the circumstances listed in element 5, you must find the defendant not guilty of first-degree murder. If you find that elements 1 through 4 above have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, and you unanimously agree that the state has proven any of the above circumstances under element 5 beyond a reasonable doubt, you must find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder. If you find that the state has failed to prove any of the above, you must find the defendant not guilty of first-degree murder. If you find that all of the above have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, then you must find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder. So that concludes reading of jury instruction number 42. The court will have you include that in your deliberations, and that original instruction will go back with you to the jury room for your deliberations. Thank you for your patience in addressing this matter, and thank you for the question to address that as well. All please rise for the jury then. All right, thank you. We're in recess.
Judge, is it still the court's position 30 minutes within notification?
I think so, Mr. Pryor. I think that helps
you, Your
us
Honor.
keep things moving. If we have any other questions or a verdict.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So yeah,
What do you think about that?
because they need to know that a murder charge doesn't mean the actual physical crime only. It can be encouraging someone to
Well,
do that.
yeah.
Well, then there you go.
Yep. Boy, what good juries, huh? I'm impressed.
Mark.
What did Mark say? So there's that. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So there's that. You know it, Mark. All right. So here we go here. Okay, Grandma, just read a little bit of this, and then we're going to get to the body cam footage because this lady's pretty interesting. She did what she did, and then she took off in her truck. But they got her. They got her. Oh, I should show the picture of her first. Hold on, Grandma. I'm going to have you read this. I got to get her picture up there. Shoot. Hold on. Let me get back in StreamYard.
Holding on.
Sorry. I know it's loud here, people. I don't really care right now. I need my window open, and I don't have headphones. So there's that.
We can't hear it. It doesn't bother us.
Okay, good. Here you go. Read a little bit of that.
Okay. Two
Thank
weeks
you.
ago, a Buena Vista woman was acquitted of an attempted murder charge, but was found guilty of 4 other charges, including child endangerment and maliciously discharging a firearm in an occupied dwelling. Tracy Taylor, 47, stood trial in Buena Vista Circuit Court on March 29th on 4 felony charges: attempted second-degree murder, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, child endangerment, and maliciously discharging a firearm in an occupied dwelling, resulting from an incident that took place in her home in Walnut Avenue in the early morning hours of December 4th, 2022. She was also charged with 2 misdemeanors: brandishing a firearm and discharging a firearm within city limits. In addition to the 2 felony convictions, Taylor was also found guilty of both misdemeanors. The morning after the incident, Taylor went to the Buena Vista Police Department to report the incident and spoke to Detective Cameron Wheeler. Wheeler testified that Taylor reported that she had fired a shot at Paul Thompson, her on-again, off-again boyfriend. Wheeler then spoke to Thompson to get his side of the story and talk to other witnesses. On December 8th, a search warrant was executed on her home. A .22 caliber pistol was recovered, along with a .22 caliber bullet embedded. Oh man!
Okay.
Inside a window casing at the house. The bullet had been fired down a hallway in the center of the house at about chest height through an unoccupied bedroom and laundry room before ending up in the windowsill. Okay.
Okay. So let's watch the body cam footage because they released that not too long ago. So we're going to watch it. Can you believe she got away with that? Unreal. Unreal. Here we go. And just so you know, within this body cam footage, it's from 2 different cops' views. Just so you know, if you're thinking, oh no, we already seen that.
like a hound dog, black hound dog with brindle marks.
So went over and checked that stuff on her.
Okay, boy.
You know, I grabbed his paw that he brought down, and I got video. I was sleeping. It was 4:30 in the morning when he done all that shit, and it took him less than 5 minutes to take my side off. Anyway, so I picked up this. First thing I picked up, was my daddy's. It was out of the truck. This was Morris. This was my daddy's. Those were my gloves. He stole them all. Mine. This was Dayton's in the building. Dayton's. But let me show you. All that shit's stolen.
I'm sure the cops don't really care at this point.
My work phone. My missing phone for divorce court. And he's got a composition book that he must have took to his mama's, I need. I don't know how y'all gonna get in there other than when you open this one up, what you see? And I dug one out of my trash. See it?
Mm-hmm.
This is Megan's jewelry. He took the ring. The earring like that, it must have been her Halloween decorations. When I went to put her chest of drawers in the building, I knocked the drawer out and the jewelry box out and broke it. The mate's into that. Proof. The ring that he took, that Sean Campbell wouldn't tell me where he took. This is Megan's, that's Megan's. The Alex and Audie's was mine. That's my Herb Jones graduation necklace is right there. Come on, they ain't even real. But the rings, he took in front of me. The one ring was in Megan's black purse that's missing. This was with the coin that was the JFK one. I found it at Sean Campbell's. He gave it back because I was calling y'all. This was in my car the day after he put it in there. The jewelry, it's Dayton's. It was in the building. He got somebody's mail. This was been his excuse to keep coming back. Here's scroll saw I just bought for him for $100. I think it's stolen. That's the only thing he took off the curb this morning. I know it's stolen. It's got a broken blade.
You bought it for him?
I bought it from him. Scroll saw, it's green. Broken blade. Here's one of the pawn shop things and the receipts. He stole some of my shit for false print. But are y'all gonna prosecute? Is my thing. This is gonna be county.
Nothing you've got here and showed me so far. I can prosecute nothing with this. You showing it to me and telling me where you picked it up at, and he stole it. I'm not. You can't even follow it. All this stuff was in your yard this morning, so he didn't steal it. It's still in your yard.
No, the needles ain't mine. Yeah, I done dropped one part of it. I went in the trash like that, grabbed it. Anyway, then he was threatening to set me up because it's got my Apple receipt with it. I got that recorded. Always threatening to try to set me up. All right. My leaf blower is a Works battery operated. It's at his mama's. I'm telling you, it's at his mama's. He might have my DeWalt drill. I can't get in my toolbox out there. He must have tried to get in and bent the thing. I can't get in.
What is this you showing me?
Those are the pawn slips.
With a chainsaw?
And the drill, Scotty Floyd's daddy's drill, 2 of them. And the guy, he stole the guy's name. He's willing to come to court.
This don't say nothing but a drill.
I know, because he took one of them. These are the receipts. I got it electronically, I think. But I can get that stuff again, anyway. All right, look, here, he kept saying his mail. He had to get back in for his mail. His mail stolen. This mail ain't even all his. Look, this is somebody else's in here, too, that he's opened up. Kept saying he had it, and he comes all hours of the night beating, trying to get in protective order or not. I can get him on assault and batteries. Wait a minute, Mark took pictures of some of it.
You got that stuff, Tracy. You have it. He don't have it.
But
You
he left
have
it
it.
at my house with his mail.
I can't do nothing with. He left stolen stuff at your house.
Well,
you're the one that's possessing it. So technically, if anybody's in the wrong here, it's you.
Well, take it.
I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking
John,
it.
he says that you don't do nothing to him because
I ain't doing nothing to none of y'all. It ain't got nothing to do with Lord. It ain't got nothing. I can't believe nothing any of y'all say. None of the 3 of y'all.
I got to lie.
What have you told me that makes sense since you've been sitting here? everything you said, you say, Paul stole this, Paul left this, he stole this, he left it. How am I going to do something with that?
Well, when he's threatening
how
to
am I
call
going
the, leaving it in
how am
my
I
house
going
and
to do?
threatening to call the law that he
What am I
left
going to do
his
with
mail.
this? What am I going to do with it? What can I do
Well, I'm
with
going to
it?
get him for trespassing.
I've been telling you that for 6 months.
No, I am. I'm coming
That's
in.
it. That's the only thing you got is the trespassing.
No,
all this,
I got
you can't get him for stealing if it's still in your yard.
But if it's removed out of a building,
it's still on your property.
And he stole the rings.
How you gonna prove it? He moved it out the building that's not even there anymore and put it in the front yard.
Because it was.
And how's that a crime?
All right, but I don't want that needles. I don't want the needles.
You brought it down here. You doing something with it? I ain't doing nothing with it. I have no. It's Sharp's container in front of that PD. You can take your needles and put in that Sharp container.
Ain't my needles.
Ain't mine neither. That's in your box. You said it's your box.
No, it ain't my box. I thought it was Dayton's.
Well, whose box is it?
Paul's.
So you stole Paul's box?
No, I brought it down here to show you. Because I wasn't grabbing it out.
Man.
This, I put my hand around the back.
They ain't even going to test them needles. Even if...
well, he says they do.
They ain't testing no empty-ass needle. No, they're not.
Well, I wondered about that shit. Anyway, I did wonder about that.
Ain't nothing but a daggone diabetic needle.
Yeah, well, probably heroin in it. Why is it heroin baggies?
Hey, you want these receipts? This chainsaw?
Yeah, no, this is false pretenses.
Pretenses? What do you mean when you say pretenses?
Because he took Scotty's daddy's drill, borrowed it, never intended.
That ain't got nothing to do with a drill. That don't say nothing about a drill.
The drill, that's one of the receipts. And I got it electronically.
That receipt don't say nothing about a drill.
But I got it electronically too. And I've been telling everybody. I told y'all from the get-go. I told you.
99.9% of the stuff you tell me.
You don't listen.
It ain't listening.
You my weed in front of you? When he said that box on the porch? Yeah, I got him admitting that, but we can't get him for that. Said that you nodded your head.
Still what weed?
My weed.
No.
When me and you, I was letting you listen. When he said something about the box on the porch. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, yeah, he did. And he said you saw him nodded your head. I got it all recorded. I got him recorded saying he's going to set me up, that he's going to get me conspiracy, that he's going to plant meth in my console. Well, let's
what did I tell you 6 months ago? What did I tell you 6 months ago?
And I do tell him to stay away. How many times? Look how many times I called y'all.
But obviously he's been with you for the last week or so.
No, he ain't. I'm making
He's been there siding off your house.
No, I got it. My camera called it off. He moved my camera and it called it off. Less than
if
5
you would have got a
minutes
trespass notice 6 months ago, you'd be done put him in prison by now for just trespassing.
Well,
but you're gonna have a hard time getting a warrant for trespassing unless you got proof you told him not to be on the property.
I got plenty of proof.
What?
I mean, everybody on the block knows. Why you think I knew this morning he was outside? Because the neighbors saw a call.
But have you told him?
Many times. I got for the last week and a half. I won't answer the door.
Listen, you can't tell him and then allow him to come in and then change your mind again. It doesn't work like that.
I found his key that he had that was right there on top. That's my back door. He done stole a key. That's how he was getting in.
But if he was...
You want us to get a warrant on him for that?
Yeah.
How?
Whatever.
How?
Well, I got one where he come in last week in the back door when I wouldn't let him in the kitchen, slammed the door, locked it in his face, went in there in the living room, sat down. I've been going through divorce paperwork for 2 weeks, y'all, getting it ready.
How does he keep getting these keys?
I don't know. You tell me.
I see. Exactly. I'm telling you, the only way he gets them is you.
3 times. I didn't change.
And how's he got the keys 3 times?
And I didn't change.
How's he got keys to his truck?
It's a set missing for everything. Minus I know the front door.
Do you really want to stay away from him?
Yeah, I want you. Yeah, because he blames you enough. He said getting me for tampering with a witness. It was the video of him saying me and Eric Carter was together. Remember that? I sent it to you. Anyway, I said, who the witness? Brian? That'd be tampering with a cop, wouldn't it? Anyway, he's saying you. He uses your name all the time. Your name all the time.
Well,
he says that Flint said he wasn't getting charged with my debit cards. I got that recorded. And that's why you didn't charge. Remember the silverware?
I told you, I'm not getting in the middle of this. Y'all were blatantly
if it would have stopped then.
Y'all were blatantly abusing the justice system. This is not what the justice system's for.
How?
When somebody breaks up with somebody, you don't go get with
No. I've been telling you. Ask all my neighbors.
It's for legit issues.
You say this, and then a day or two from now, y'all be riding around in a car together.
Oh, no. I took him to Glasgow.
Why?
The other day.
Why? Why?
Because I left his ass. Because you know what? Then he couldn't keep coming back to my door. But I'll be damned. 2.5 hours.
Want to get away from him.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line.
You want to use us to control him. Is what you want. You want to use us to control him. That's what you want.
Y'all know he's a thief.
He might be a thief, but half of this stuff you're saying is stuff it's basically civil at best.
All right, you know what?
But that's his. You saying you come up here and said that was yours, and he stole it.
You can't come in and throw your mail down and then keep using that as an excuse. You're gonna call law and say I stole your mail. Take your fucking mail. How many times
Has he called us and said? Has Paul ever called us on you?
I don't know.
He has never called us on you. Never one time has Paul called us on you. Never, not one time.
I don't know, but what's the use getting papers? I'm the one that's some work if he's not going to be prosecuted.
Well, that's the problem. You go get.
I can't charge you for stealing something that's in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, because he brought it and gave it to me. I
can't prove it. I can't prove it because you see it.
Richie Ramsey.
Well, go get Richie Ramsey, and you and Richie Ramsey go get a warrant. You and Richie Ramsey. I can't prove that stuff. I can't.
I got him recorded.
You say I've watched all these videos you sent me. I've never seen a crime one. You'll say one thing and watch it, and it won't be nothing like that on there.
Okay.
You'll say, "Here's proof that he did this," and it's a picture of Paul walking through the yard, a video of Paul walking through the yard or
But then
something.
you get warrants on each other, and what happens in court?
No, he lied in that warrant.
Y'all don't want to prosecute.
One. No,
that's abusing the justice.
He got that assault and battery, so I'd have to drop the warrant, and that was bullshit. I mean, I had pulled over. Remember that morning with Robert?
Listen to me for a second. This is why we're not putting our names on any of these warrants. Okay?
I'm giving y'all enough. Wait a minute,
You ain't give us nothing.
Okay.
Nothing have you give us.
Well, I'm telling you, all the
just saying he brought this to me and stole it, but then give it back.
Went to David Bahar, he's melting that shit down. The catalytic converters, that's what I heard it all yesterday.
We know Devin Bahers took him Cadillac converters for 6 months. You ain't telling us nothing new. We know where everything's going.
All right, it's under his bed. He was talking about Laura and Brad. He didn't know how they did it.
Well, I'm going to go down here and ask him if I can come in there and look under his bed. What do you think he's going to tell me?
Well, do something. Go up there and get my notebook for court. I took a picture of the heroin baggies when he got up and dropped it. I took a picture. All right, here they are. Right at my daddy's reacher. Right there. It was by my foot chest.
So would you be wanting to get him in trouble right now if he was living with you? If you guys
he ain't never lived with me.
If you guys were doing good?
No, I've been telling him to stay away for months. You can ask anybody around me. I mean, my God, how many times I left him in Racine before? I've left him in Glasgow. Give me a little bit of peace at my house. You can't keep coming back. I got to work in the morning. You can't come back like every hour, every half hour, like a damn clock.
Well, you're allowing it.
But when I call, what happens?
We ain't going to do nothing. I'm going to tell you.
So when I shoot him, that's what's going to happen.
We'll lock you up for homicide.
Yeah, y'all lock me up.
Exactly right.
And you know he doesn't deserve it.
If you go get a trespass notice 6 months ago and do not let him near your house, none of this stuff will ever happen again. It'll be dug. Well, nothing ever happen again.
Are y'all going to lock him up if I get trespassed?
If you got a trespass notice, yes, we will.
No, are y'all going to do it now?
No, if he's here when we get there.
No, he ain't going to be there.
You saying that you told him he can't be there is ain't going to work with us. You're going to have to get a trespass notice. It's going to have to be served on him, and we're going to have to see him on your property. That's the only way we're going to do it. Because you let him back in that house. You will let him back in that house. You will let him back in that house. I'll bet money.
All right, y'all.
I'll bet money.
Why would you have somebody in your vehicle if you didn't want them on your property? You didn't want
to take him away from my damn house.
No, absolutely.
No, you tell him to get the hell off your property and shut the door.
If you see him driving my vehicle, you arrest his ass.
I've seen him drive a vehicle with you in it.
If I'm driving?
I seen him drive with you in it.
When?
Out on 60?
When?
It's been a while.
Yeah, not after y'all told me, right? Right? They tried to steal my car Friday, not this past Friday, the Friday before.
Did you call anybody?
I did end up calling on him that night.
Probably not right when it happened, right?
No, he was trying to be slick. He didn't come move my car around and vacuum it out. No, you fuck you ain't. You know, I'm back there working. I really can't move from the dust now because...
You really don't want to be away from it.
Yes, I do. God.
Well, go get a trespass notice on him.
Go up there and get my stuff from his mama's place. Or me and his mama.
You think his mama's going to let us in that house? She won't even talk to us.
It's just flip me off.
She won't even talk to us. She'll tell us to go pound sand and shut the door. That's what she'll tell us. I'm going to tell you that's what she'll tell us.
How did y'all go in searching for chainsaws or whoever months back?
What?
That's what His mama and
Well,
he
you see,
said.
that's the thing. You believe everything.
No,
that
his mama
people
said
saying.
it too.
I don't know nothing about going in no house searching for no chainsaw.
Because she was saying that she wasn't going to let cops back in to search again because this was Larry's house. Larry's
I have
home.
no idea what you're talking about.
I don't either. That's why I was
Exactly.
You need to separate yourself from that and move on. If that's what you really want to do.
It's chaos. It is chaos.
Yeah, and
It
I
is
asked
utter
y'all for help.
chaos.
Y'all remember that?
We've told you what to do. Remember that. We've told you and told you and
it's
told you.
documented that we
And
told
you want to do what you want to do, but then want us to deal with the crap.
My
when
shit, I found it. Go get it.
You don't listen, Tracy. Probably not going to ever get it.
Just put me through that for nothing.
Put you through what?
Interview, everything for nothing.
You think I'm really going to find something I can't? That if it went to Jamal, do you really think it's still down there?
Coins, yeah, because they were talking about it.
How am I going to identify the coin? How am I going to identify? I can't identify it.
What, does he got a receipt? No.
I got coins at my house. I ain't got a receipt for.
Collector's coins.
Yeah, I do. And I ain't got a receipt for not a damn one of them. Not a one coin do I have a receipt for. And I have collector coins at my house.
You know, that bitch got all these fucking bullshit papers on me. They was all bullshit.
I can't do nothing about that.
Come to y'all.
Did you not get papers?
On her for stealing? And the Commonwealth dropped it. Because they snitches. Come on, y'all.
The Commonwealth's getting tired of.
He's tired of dealing with y'all too.
Yeah, you remember I'm the only tax-paying motherfucker working one up the
Why
bunch.
don't you got a city sticker then?
I do got to get one. Because Paul sold my money that I had to go down for taxes. And how much have I
All
paid
right,
the
if you want to
lawyer?
get rid of them, first step, go down there and get no trespass. First step.
You do that, and I'll halfway believe something comes out your mouth. Until you do that, I ain't believing nothing. You don't want him away from you bad enough.
What about my house, y'all? I can't fix that.
You've had him down there working on your house for months. That's all
tell
civil.
him to do that.
But it's all civil. That whole construction stuff's civil.
I'm not going to get any money out of him.
You shouldn't have laid in the bed with him.
If I did, why ain't those assaults domestic?
Because you ain't living there. Because you say he don't live there.
No, I ain't letting him live there.
That's why they ain't a domestic.
It's not going to end well.
You have to cohabitate to be a domestic.
It's not going to end well.
It probably is not going to end well. Y'all are a damn train wreck waiting to
I
happen.
don't want him around.
But I can't do nothing about it. I can't do nothing to help you.
Y'all always arrest me when it was Sean Flint.
We
Think back.
How many times have I arrested you? How many times have I arrested you?
Once.
What was you doing the time I arrested you?
Oh, no, that was Daniel's fault. I was not going to court, but Daniel was supposed to call home.
No, not that time. Not that time. Not that time. What's the other time I arrested?
And you tried to stop it.
Says,
Yes.
okay.
And
Did I arrest you for anything deal with Sean?
No, and I do appreciate you for trying to teach a lesson. It wasn't me, though. I hope you found that out. And I shouldn't have said don't arrest her because look at her now.
Well, yes, look, I do agree with you. You and Paul and Laura and all y'all are a train wreck.
I don't want them
Heading 100 miles an hour off a cliff, but it ain't nothing we can do to save y'all. Y'all got to save yourself.
And I am going to save myself.
I hope you do. But it's really up to you at this point, Tracy.
Yeah, because I got to defend myself and my property.
It ain't defend. It starts with going to get the trespass notice I told you to get 6 months ago and keep them off your property. You keep them away from you, and your problem will stop.
Protective order. Christy and him saw him across the street.
Did you go get a warrant on him?
I can.
You can't now.
Why?
Because the protective order is over.
Well,
Who's going to believe it? Who's going to believe it? Who's going to believe it? How you going to prove it?
Don't lie.
Huh?
Camera don't lie. Well, how can he take down my cameras and get by with that? That's got to be a crime. If you're doing that, you're doing something.
It boils down to you allowing him to come there.
You go get him for trespass notice, and then when he shows up, we'll get a warrant for trespassing. It's that damn simple. And then he shows up again, we'll arrest him again for trespassing. It's that damn simple.
About Megan and dating shit, y'all.
Well, you got to fix.
My daddy shit. All right, go look at him. I bet you he's got a Timberland wallet. It's my daddy's.
Did you give it to him?
He's got a paper in there. I'll fill it out right now and hand him a check.
All right. Well, you get the trespass notice, and we start from there. Good luck.
Didn't ya?
I left his ass. Because you know what? Then he couldn't keep coming back to my door. But I'd be damned.
Because you really don't want to get away from him. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
You really.
And I want it.
What you want? You want to use us to control him. That's what you want.
Y'all know he's a thief.
He might be a thief, but half of this stuff you're saying is stuff it's basically civil at
Okay,
best.
all right. You know what?
But that's his. You saying you
I'm
go up
gonna
here and
take
say
care of
that
it.
was yours,
You can't.
and he stole it.
You can't come in and throw your mail down and then keep using that as an excuse. You're gonna call law and say I stole your mail. Take your fucking mail. How many times
Has he
I gotta
called
give
us
it
and
to you?
said? Has Paul ever called us on you?
I don't know.
He has never called us on you. Never one time has Paul called us on you.
I don't
Never,
know.
not one time.
I don't know. But what's the use getting papers? I'm the one that's some work if these not gonna be prosecuted.
Well, that's the problem. You go get
I can't
warrants.
charge you for stealing something that's in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, because he brought it and gave it to me. And I identified
I can't
it.
prove that. I
Richie
can't prove
Ramsey
that
can.
because you said
Richie
well,
Ramsey
go
can.
get Richie Ramsey and you and Richie Ramsey go get a warrant. You and Richie Ramsey. I can't prove that stuff.
I think I got him recorded.
You say I've watched all these videos you sent me. I've never seen a crime
no.
one. You'll say one thing and watch it, and it won't be nothing like that on there.
Okay.
You'll say, "Here's proof that he did this," and it's a picture of Paul walking through your yard, a video of Paul walking through your yard.
But then you get warrants on each other, and what happens in court?
No, he lied in that one.
Y'all don't want
I
to
still got
prosecute.
one. No,
That's abusing the
Yeah,
justice
he got
system.
that assault and battery, so I'd have to drop the one, and that was bullshit. I mean, I had pulled over. Remember
Well,
that
this is
morning
why.
with Robert?
Listen to me for a second. This is why we're not putting our names on any of these warrants. Okay.
I'm giving y'all enough. Wait a minute, I'm gonna show
You
you.
ain't give us nothing.
Okay.
Nothing have you give us.
Well, I'm telling you, all the
Just saying, he brought this to me and stole
the
it, but then
radiant
give
shit
it back.
went to Devin Bahar. He's melting that shit down. The catalytic converters. That's what I heard it all yesterday.
We knew Devin Bahurst took him Cadillac converters for 6
But
months.
did you know
ain't
that's
telling
where the
us
gold
nothing
and
new.
silver's going?
We know where everything's going.
All right, it's under his bed. He was talking about Lauren Brad. He didn't know how they didn't.
I'm gonna go in here and ask him if I can come in there and look under his bed. What do you think to tell me?
Well, do something. Go up there and get my notebook for court. I took a picture of the heroin baggies when he got up and dropped it. I took a all right, here they are. Right at my daddy's reacher. Right there. It was by my foot chest.
So would you be wanting to get him in trouble right now if he was living with you? If you guys
He ain't never lived with
if
me.
you guys were doing good this
No,
week?
I've been telling him to stay away for months. You can ask anybody around me. I mean, my God, how many times do I left him in Racine before? I've left him in Glasgow. Give me a little bit of peace at my house. You can't keep coming back. I got to work in the morning. You can't come back like every hour, every half hour, like a damn clock.
Well, you're allowing it.
But when I call, what happens?
We ain't gonna do nothing.
We're
I'm
not.
gonna tell you.
Yeah, we're not.
So when I shoot him, that's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen.
We'll lock you up for homicide.
Yeah, y'all lock me up.
Exactly right.
'Cause you
And
can't
he knows
just shoot
he
him.
doesn't deserve it.
If you go get a trespass notice 6 months ago, do not let him near your house. None of this stuff will ever happen again. It'll be done. Well, nothing
Are
ever
y'all
happen
going to lock him up if I get
again.
trespassed?
If you got a trespass notice, yes, we will.
No,
If
are y'all
he's-
going to do it now?
No, if he's
No.
there when we get there,
No, he ain't going to be there.
You saying that you told him he can't be there, it ain't gonna work with us. You got to get a trespass notice. It's got to be served on him. We got to see him on your property. It's the only way we gonna do it. Because you let him back in that house. You will let him back in that house. You will let him back in that house. I'll
Alright,
bet
y'all.
money.
All right, y'all.
I'll bet
What?
money.
why would you have somebody in your vehicle if you didn't want them on your property? You didn't want
To
to
take
be
him
around
away
them.
from my damn house.
No, I've seen him in your
You tell
vehicle
him get the hell
several
off
many
your
times.
If you
property.
see him
Shut
in
the
my,
door.
if you see him driving my vehicle, you arrest his ass.
I've seen him drive a vehicle with you in it.
If I'm driving,
I've seen him drive with you in it.
when?
Out on 60.
When?
It's been a while.
Yeah, not after y'all told me, right? Right? They tried to steal my car Friday, not this past Friday, the Friday before.
Did you call anybody?
I did end up calling on him that night.
When? Probably not right when it happened, right?
No,
Probably
he was
the next
trying to
day
be
or
slick.
something.
He don't come move my car around and back him out. No, you fuck you ain't. You know, I'm back there working. I really can't move from the dust now because
You really don't want to be away from him. Is what
yes,
the
I
rules
do.
are.
God,
Go get trespass notice on it.
go over there and get my stuff from his mama's place, or me and his mama. I don't
It's
have
civil.
no.
She won't let us in that house. She
Well,
won't
no,
even
because
talk
his
to us.
kids just flipped me
She
off
won't
going
even
through
talk to
there.
us. She'll tell us to go pound sand and shut the door. That's what she'll tell us. I'm gonna tell you that's what she'll
Well,
tell
how did y'all go in searching for chainsaws or whoever months back?
us. What?
That's what His mama and
What?
he
You
said.
see, that's the thing. You believe everything
his
that people
mama said
saying.
it too.
I don't know nothing about
I don't either. I haven't heard anything about that.
Because she was saying that she wasn't going to let cops back in to search again because this was Larry's house. Larry
I have
Floyd.
no idea what you're talking about.
I don't either. That's why I was asking.
But you need to separate yourself from that and move on. If that's what you really want to do.
Chaos. It is chaos.
Yeah, and
It
I
is
asked y'all
utter
for
chaos.
help. Y'all remember that?
Yep.
We've told you what to do. Remember that? We've told you and told you.
And it's
told
documented that we've told
you.
You what to do.
What you want to do, but then want us to deal with
I wanted
the crap.
to find my shit. I found it. Go get it.
You don't listen, Tracy.
So you're never going to get my shit. You're never going to look.
Probably not going to ever get
You
it.
just put me through that for nothing. Maybe do a taped interview, everything for nothing.
You think I'm really going to find something I can't? If it went to Jamal, do you really think it's still down
The
there?
coins, yeah, because they were talking about it.
How am I going to identify the coin? How am I going to identify? I can't identify it.
What, does he got a receipt?
I got coins at my house. I ain't got a receipt
not
for.
collector's coins.
Yeah, I do. And I ain't got a receipt for not a damn one of them. Not a one coin do I have a receipt for. And I have collector coins in my house.
You know, that bitch got all these fucking bullshit papers on me. They was all bullshit.
I can't
And
do
I
nothing about
legit
that.
come to y'all.
Did you not get papers?
On her for stealing? And the Commonwealth dropped it. Because they snitches. Come on, y'all.
No, the Commonwealth's getting tired of this crap too.
Y'all too.
Yeah, you remember I'm the only tax-paying motherfucker working one up.
Why ain't you got a city sticker then?
I do got to get one. Because Paul stole my money that I had to go down for taxes. And how much have I paid?
All right, if you want to get rid of them, first step, go down there and get no trespass paper. First step.
You do that, and I'll halfway believe something comes out of your mouth. Do you do that? I ain't believe nothing. You don't want him away from you bad enough.
What about my house, y'all? I can't fix that.
You've had him down there working on your house for months.
I did
That's
not
all
tell
civil.
him to do that.
But it's all civil. That whole construction stuff's civil.
I'm not going to get any money out of him.
You shouldn't have laid in the bed with him.
If I did, why ain't those assaults domestic?
You ain't living there because you say he don't live there.
No, I ain't letting him live there.
That's why they ain't a domestic.
It's not going to end well.
You have to cohabitate to be a domestic.
It's not going to end well.
It probably is not going to end well. Y'all are a damn train wreck waiting to
I
happen.
don't want him around.
But I can't do nothing about it. I can't do nothing.
Well, why y'all always arrest me when it was Sean Flint?
Ain't nobody. We don't get involved. We're not putting our names on any of these
How many
warrants.
times have I arrested you? What was you doing the time I arrested you?
Oh, no, that was Daniel's fault. I was not going to court, but Daniel was supposed to call home.
No, not that time. Not that time. What's the other time I arrested you?
And you tried to stop it.
That's,
Yes.
okay.
And
Did I arrest you for anything dealing with Sean?
No, and I do appreciate you for trying to teach a lesson. It wasn't me, though. I hope you found that out. And I shouldn't have said don't arrest her because look at her now.
Yes, look, I do agree with you. You and Paul and Lauren, all y'all are a train wreck.
I don't want them
Heading
around.
100 miles an hour off a cliff, but it ain't nothing we can do to save y'all. Y'all got to save yourself.
And I am going to save myself.
I hope you do, but it's really up to you at this point, Tracy.
Yeah, because I got to defend myself and my property.
It ain't defend. It starts with going to get the trespass notice I told you to get 6 months ago and keep them off your property. You keep them away from you, and your problem will stop.
A protective order. Christy and them saw him across the street.
You go get a warrant on him?
I can.
You can't now.
Why?
Because the protective order is over. Who's going to believe it? Who's going to believe it? Who's going to believe it? How you going to prove it? Huh?
Camera don't lie. Well, how can he take down my camera and get by with that? That's got to be a crime. If you're doing that, you're doing something.
It boils down to you allowing him to come there.
You go get him for trespass notice, and then when he shows up, we get him on trespass. Is that damn simple? And then he shows up again, we arrest him again for trespass. Is that damn simple?
What about Megan and David shit, y'all?
You
What
got to
about
fix.
my daddy shit? All right, go look at him. I bet you he's got a Timberland wallet. It's my daddy.
Did you give it to
See
him?
if he's got a paper in there. I'll fill it out right now and hand him a check.
All right. You get the trespass notice, and we start from there. Good luck.
Roger TCC, engine 92. Correction on that address, it's going to be 1643 1643 Walnut Avenue.
1643 Walnut, okay. TCC, Medic 15 arriving at Stonewall.
Medic 15 arriving at Stonewall, slow.
Grandma, you said it wasn't going to end well.
Go ahead. Do you want any other apparatus from the station? Just stand by until we get there. I'll see what I've got.
Yeah, she shot him in the arm.
$23, $26 to be out here.
1214.
Do what?
Oh, no squad. I just need.
Well, that's what happens when you call and say that somebody's burning stuff.
He done burn up
Squad.
$50 bathing suit top to like that shit. He won't.
Squad, fire department, everybody's coming.
Well, look how big it is. Wait, I told him to leave.
That's a mess back here. So why is he back down here, Tracy?
Exactly. I called last night.
I guess you didn't go get the no trespass paper,
Well,
did
I've
you?
been working. I go lunchtime. I get my shower and I go. What I got to do? Threatening me with his old ass mama. But yeah, I mean, Megan's talking about $150.
Here we go again.
I know. Right?
The other day,
So take
and
it.
did you ever go to the sheriff's office?
No, because they wasn't there when I went down.
Well, it's been like a week ago.
I know. You know,
If you want him away from here and you really want him away from here, then you need to take that step and get the no trespass paper.
Did you get him for illegal burning or something right there?
I don't know what he's burning. I mean, you've allowed it before.
No, I ain't. I burned my own fire in my fire pit. And that was just shit he brought down.
This is the thing. You guys get to fight and you want him arrested and you want him in trouble.
No, I ain't never
It
said don't
happens
arrest
every
him.
other
Have
day.
Have I ever said don't arrest him?
So what's he burning back there?
Let me give you this bag of jewelry that he's.
No, I'm not here for jewelry. I'm not here for jewelry.
It ain't mine. It ain't mine.
Well, I'm not here for that. Okay, I'm here for a brush fire. So what's he burning of yours?
He burned up Megan's $150 bathing suit top that came from Richmond. You know, my girls ain't easy to find a top for.
Anything else?
Well, that was $150. Well, I showed the curtains. I mean, I've had them shut. I've been working.
How long has he been down here today?
8:30.
8:30? Why didn't you call? Why didn't you call?
Oh, I saw Danny. I ran down to the store to get sodas and cigarettes, and I saw him. And he rode by. I thought that'd be enough to make him leave. Hell no. He thinks he's above the law.
I guess just some pallets, some boxes.
Whose stuff is this right here, Tracy?
Well, those axles, they ain't his. The rest, he take, go. Get it out of here. It ain't, don't bring it back. It don't need to be here. It ain't my junk. I mean, I already got to fix the side of my house where he tore it up, and I can show you the videos of that. He done it in freaking 15 minutes time.
So if you really want him away from here, okay, if he's not living with you, you don't want him
he
on the
ain't
property.
living here.
Okay, if you really want him away from here, then go get the trespass
Hey,
paper.
his mom's, my weed eater's right there, and my little shovel, and I got serial number for the weed eater.
Well, I'm sure you loaned it to him at some point,
I
didn't you?
did not the shovel. He stole out the yard. It was my little shovel. The weed eater, yes, I did.
All right, well, that's civil then.
But not the shovel.
So you want to report a stolen shovel?
No.
All right, well, you can come get a warrant for him.
Oh,
Okay?
well, you know, I'm gonna hit that motherfucker like he ain't never seen before, because I'm tired of this. You know, my kid's in there. She sleep right now. That's right by her window, right there. She don't need this.
You keep letting him come back,
I didn't let him in today, is what I'm telling you.
but he'll be in the car with you this evening.
Sometimes that's just to get him away. I told you. I told him to go
If you really want to be away from him, then you can get away from him.
Just to leave him. You know why? Because it gives me a few hours peace. Take some water, walk back. And he tore up my weed eater right there. My other weed eater. Trying to fix the saw or something. I don't know. I did take the saw inside. He says it's Jamel's, if that tells you anything.
Did he stay here last night?
Nope.
What was the incident at 3 o'clock this morning between you
It's
two?
crazy shit like that. All the time. All the fucking time. Anyway, I'm going to call this jewelry shop and run over because I know where he takes the scrap to now.
Man, it is every day.
Man,
Every
she got
day.
a trespass notice on him
She did?
a while back. And then the call before we got him served, she fucking called and said she wanted to go away with the car. She needed her damn furnace fixed. He comes here.
Did you hear that, cop? This is
I didn't know
every
that.
day.
What?
They could make a show out of these people.
No, I'm not exchanging mail. You can hand it to
I
him.
don't know who this is. Anyway, it's I guess his water got turned off in Lexington, but it went to his mama. Daniel C. Smith. I don't know if they was moving in up there or what, but they come from Lexington. You don't open up people's mail. That's bull right there.
I'm not.
It's not mine.
I'm not taking possession of it. Okay.
Well, I don't want possession of it. He leaves shit and then says he's going to get y'all to come in my house for it. Adios.
See you.
I guess nobody's hurt. Right?
No, just drama. Every day drama. These two.
Well, he just went and burned the house down.
He did?
Yeah, we first seen standing there. So a minute ago, he said, I was just burn this whole fucking thing down. We'll see what happens.
Kane's always working with knife. I wasn't messing with it, wasn't bothering, wasn't doing shit. All of them to come and help us for something like that then.
That salt treated wood you burning?
Some of them.
Yeah, you ain't supposed to burn that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you both got that thing toasted. Knocked your bucket, Dave. I'm gonna be honest with you. Chances of you getting hurt is pretty good. The bigger issue is you and her. Hey, you need to come helper, man. I get it. There's more to it than that. Whatever you're doing, it's, you can't help. Oh, every day. You're there. I get it. Every day. You keep going back. Wow. I mean, you guys take my voice to my job. I mean, shit, all stuff. Like, I mean, so it, and it's friends, there's no like it. Y'all are talking. Yeah, yeah. So, people like that, I mean, try to help her out, help her out, but some people, and I sent them over here, those guys that over here, they're trying to work in there. We have this talk every week. That's what I've been in. And every day, yeah. I'm walking in the street, people will follow me. And I can't get paid to go home, and you know, well, you have an issue with her following you. Why the hell are you saying? I'm like that. Why do you think I'm gotta help them? Like that. All right, I'll be here today. I'm on my way. No, I'll go. I'm not doing anything, but I got to run my anyway. And I'll be wanting to go back to you there. Oh, all kinds of stuff. All right, dude. I'm gonna go scratch out some paperwork.
Would you?
Can y'all get my property from inside?
Well, we're not.
I mean,
Not here for that.
I'm sick of it.
Well, we are too. I'll be honest with you, we are too. We're down here every day.
Hey, almost. I mean,
What y'all gonna do when somebody gets hurt responding here? Now you got the squad, we got the fire department, police department, going balls to the wall to get here for this stupid stuff.
I'm a bigger retard because I'm here. I mean, that's it. I was almost coming to help put that fool up. You know, there's all my shit. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous.
Tracy, I'll talk to you in a second.
What's your name? I know you text Paul Thompson. Paul Thompson. Oh, you know your shit here ain't no good to burn, man. They trade it wood. No, I'll be outdoors. I mean, it's
Zero 29 is the required extinguish on the time of arrival.
I'll slow down pretty good and everything. So. I'll slow down a little bit. Sorry about that, though. Hey,
So,
buddy. I mean, I'll talk to you more about the ordinance. We can't have any other fire in the city. All I can do is tell you that. Yeah, that's right. Talk to you around. We'll get you fixed up. Not a big deal. Not the end of the world. You just got to be careful. If you're going to milk that bucket there, so if you milk that bucket, man, you fire. That fire was pretty hot. Oh, you milk that vinyl. I just water. So, you don't think about it, man. I don't know what's in it shit. That stuff white off and it's bad news for everybody here today.
lawnmower, I'm sure it's got gas in it.
Yeah. I ain't telling y'all wrong. I mean, anything that went wrong. I understand that. Yeah. I got you. There's a whole lot drier than it has been for the past few years. So they won't be careful, man. That's what.
Yep. See you. Did you burn anything of hers?
No.
What's this stuff that you burning? Tracy, go inside. Tracy,
and make it right here.
go inside.
And like my shit you burnt and my stuff that my mom. I guess I'm gonna have to get down and get my mom to.
So what's this stuff right here that you burning?
It's all my shit. My pallet, my old wood I have jobs.
What's your purpose in burning them? I mean,
So I ain't gotta move them.
have you made threats to burn down the house?
Fuck no. I don't go after fucking somebody's property after them. Never done nothing like that.
Did you burn a daughter's bathing suit?
Fuck no. Fucking old piece of clothing, man, over on the fucking pile.
So what y'all fighting about now?
I ain't fighting. I wasn't fighting with shit. She took my goddamn tools from out here because I was getting ready to fucking go take down the building. And she was supposed to give me a ride and everything and go do it. And fucking, she got the boys about something because my mom called. I mean, it's like last night. I mean, I don't find her driving nothing like that. And like, come on. Yeah.
So what all do you have down here?
Just this kind of shit over there. My tools that are inside. My mom just paid for yesterday.
That your mom paid for?
Yep.
Did you buy them from Tracy or what?
No, I bought them from people having yard sale represent my mom's on 35th Street. And I was seeing
Why did you bring them here? Did you stay here last night?
No, because I was setting that up and I didn't know what I was gonna need. And I was planning on leaving from here and going to do another job. And she claimed that, oh, you steal my shit, man. I ain't took a goddamn thing from that woman.
Why would you want to be around somebody that's accusing you of stealing stuff?
I mean,
somebody's calling the police on you every day.
I figured that if I help her out, maybe fuck she calm down a little bit. But fuck, she keeps on. She got me for a assault charge. Then I smacked her and took her fucking tickets and electrical tester.
Wouldn't that be enough? Somebody gets a warrant on you, wouldn't that be enough?
Last time when fucking she got fucking went to court,
that ain't gonna keep happening. I'm gonna tell you that.
The day right after we went to court and had everything dismissed, everything was done, she went and got no because I told her, I was like, I wouldn't press charge against Laura. I mean, if she bought me there doing that job over there on the real property. And I wouldn't press charge. I was gonna sit down and lie and say Laura stole from me. I mean, fuck. Even though I mean, her don't get along with shit. I'm gonna sit down and put somebody in jail for something stupid. That's all. Did she let you stay down here last night? It was something at 3 o'clock this morning. I was down here cleaning up stuff, trying to get that side because when we build a little lengthy building there. Did you stay here last night? No.
Was y'all on good terms yesterday or last night?
Yeah. And she got along. You're not trespassing. You stayed last night. You're not trespassing. No, I mean I was down here working. I was down here till 3 o'clock. When long okay, I got up from Snyder last night. Because she called him. I was like, what the fuck are you going to keep calling law? You ain't got nobody else family member calling to you, bitch to. So you can call the law and have somebody bitch to. That's all she does. Every time she has a little pitch back, she'll call y'all. I mean, she got pissed off last night because I went and got a sewing machine. I mean, it's the same. It was fucking like 1922. Shit. And I wouldn't have it.
I got one of them.
And the building I'm going to take down. I mean, it's a big building. And she wanted, she thought I was going to set it up down here. I'm not setting it up down here. I'm going to take it up and set it up tomorrow.
So where are you staying at then?
At my mom.
Why don't you take your stuff up there then?
I'm going to.
Didn't your mom move?
Yeah, she up on 35th Street.
Oh, she was got up on Hawthorne now?
No. And see, I'm going to take all this stuff up, and every time I do, she's got a truck. If I call Sean or somebody like that, then she don't want anybody down here on property because Sean's stepdaddy helped me. He'll bring her down here. I'll have to carry this shit from here. She'll load it back up on the truck if I take it out to that. She took all my shit. I had plumbing fittings. I mean, you know how fittings are. I had 2 totes full. And she took them up there and set them at the curb and gone.
All right, let's go back around here. I think Bernstein might have some paperwork for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the matches. You can't haul them matches. What are you doing with that? What are you doing with them? They're yours. They're yours. Everything's hers. What are you going to do with it? That's what I'm going to build me a trailer out of.
Did she tell you could bring stuff down here?
It was on the truck, and she took it off the truck.
What are you doing with a toilet?
I was going to put it in down there by Steve Baldridge's office, but she cracked it.
Mm.
It's the driver. You have shit. Hey, you can have no shit.
No, it's her. I ain't going to do that shit. I'll go there and hold them damn tomatoes up myself. I'll sit up there all damn summer holding them back.
That's like she put shit up and can't find it, and then she accuses me of fucking taking it, and she'll find it later on.
Who's this right here? Is this your ride, Paul? Huh?
That's my neighbor. Man, it's like this shit over there. That I mean, put shit on fucking. We'll take this scrap off. You ready? No, you're not gonna take the scrap right. Boom. She put it here and fucking dump it off the truck.
Oh, that's that lips from your voice. Right there in the car.
Can't really see.
Right.
That's
I think that's Lisa Lamb.
Lisa.
Oh.
Lives up, Brian, lives up south. Yeah. Trying to get hold of my mom, you know.
What did you do? Open flame?
Huh?
What'd you do? Open flame?
It's it shows up as improper burning in the city.
Shady tree. Ain't it? God, look how big a thing is. Chunk of
What
it.
the hell is it?
I don't know.
Mr. Big,
All right. This is for unauthorized burning in the city. Factory it is.
Right now? I thought it was tomorrow. Where? I don't see Judge Judd's Judge's whatchamacallit. Hold on. Oh, Judge. No, he's not. Oh, here he is. Judge John Judge. Thank you, Grandma.
But you're going to tell me the places this phone went and how it was used while it went somewhere.
Kind of. Let me clean that up a little bit. I will look first at where I believe the phone went, where it traveled, how it got there, how long it took, possible routes. And then to your point, I call it cooperative data. I'm then going to seek out all that data you just talked about to say, okay, well, we have these 3 photographs, we have this piece of surveillance video, we have these 4 receipts. I'm going to overlay it with my analysis so that I can corroborate the analysis accurate, or maybe we see activity associated with that person and the phone's not there. Does that person just not have the phone, or is part of our analysis wrong? Maybe surveillance details wrong. We don't know. So eventually I will get back to that data you're talking about, but I'm not the guy that's going to go out and extract that data.
Would it be fair to say that that's data that you would use in a final analysis as it comes in from other sources, but you're the go-to for me to understand how a phone works with a tower and how it moves between towers if the phone's in motion somewhere?
Yes, 100%.
You talked a little bit about drive test data or drive testing, and that being part of the company that you developed and part of the work that you've done. Is that helpful in understanding the ultimate picture?
Depending on the type of records we're dealing with, it can be very helpful. When we're looking at just basic call detail records, CDRs, a lot of times we're just getting connections to a particular cell site, and we can say a PSI of that cell site. Sometimes the frequencies that are used. Drive testing is really the only way to get a little bit more specific with where that phone may be. But more importantly, we can start to rule out areas we know it's not by drive testing. So just think of drive testing as a forensic evaluation of the actual cellular network in a particular area.
Fair enough. Are you familiar with AT&T records?
I am intimately familiar with AT&T records.
How long do you think you've been working with AT&T records?
28 years.
In our case that we're here on today, have you reviewed any AT&T records that relate to Mr. Koberger?
I have.
What have you reviewed?
What AT&T refers to as their regular CDRs, which is a report AU as an atom union. I have identified the report CT as in Charlestown, which is the subscriber information. There's a really weird name called Locavore, which is AT&T's attempt to estimate general locations using latitude and longitude. I don't want to say GPS because it is different than GPS. I believe I've looked at some ping data from December. For the most part, that's what I've reviewed so far.
have you looked at two separate AT&T warrant returns from December 23rd, 2022?
I have.
In your experience with working with AT&T records, is it common or uncommon to have two warrants, one that relies on the content of the first and the same day?
It's not uncommon to see a small time period that produces results that would increase the desire, the need for a bigger time period of records. Seeing that entire process happen twice in the same day is extremely rare.
Well, the first AT&T record, we called it today the 48-hour AT&T record of Brian's call detail record. If you were to take that and do an analysis on the call detail record, how long would that be?
Depends on the analysis. So I'll qualify that answer with looking at what was put into the second warrant that shows us at least parts of that analysis to include a route that was identified. To do it reliably and feel comfortable that I'm accurate, at least 3 hours. And that's if you know what you're doing and you have all the tools at your disposal. Arguably, you could spend half a day or more doing that very easily.
To do that, do you just take these records, printed copy, and know what's on there, or do you have to do something with those records?
You would have to use some type of a mapping platform software, and you would take the digital copy, which is typically a text file, you would import it into that program, which would then map everything. But if I'm going to use those results, search warrant affidavit, for example, there's a process that I'm going to go through to confirm the accuracy, because in theory, if I'm wrong, the entire linchpin of that case is now hinged on this affidavit that I wrote. So before I commit to swearing out to an affidavit, hey, this is what the phone is doing, X, Y, and Z, there's a further process of just mapping it to validate it. In this case, there's a lot of time distance measurements that need to be performed that can be extremely time consuming. There's some ulterior issues that come up with how that phone is interacting with other cell sites that needs to be analyzed. Again, saying that a very qualified, competent investigator spending half a day just coming up with that basic summary is very reasonable.
And that half a day, you would put that record into a computer program and a map would be produced?
Correct.
What other information besides that call detail record would you need to do this analysis?
In this case, I would want the call detail records. I would want the locabor, it's LOCAVR. And I would want the regional cell tower list from AT&T.
Does AT&T generally provide that regional cell tower list inside of its record that it produces pursuant to the search warrant?
No, I would actually say by policy, they do not. It's a very large file. It typically does not transmit very well to government email. So they would direct users of where they could go online and download.
And have you looked at this record, the 48-hour AT&T search warrant record, the return on that?
I have.
Did that include the regional tower list?
It did not.
Okay. So if you are doing this analysis, you've put CDR records into a computer program, you've put a regional tower list into the computer program, what does it produce?
The CDRs would show me cell sites that the phone connected to. In this case, even within the 48 hours, there's hundreds of those cell sites. So it would take a while to really look at that. The regional cell site list would show me the cell towers that the phone's not interacting with, which can be just as important.
Does it spit out product to you, or does it create something that you can reference to write your next warrant?
Depending on which mapping platform you're using, they all create some type of a map that the person doing the analysis on can interact with, and they can change things, they can save things, they can create work product. Depending on that platform, that's saved in different types of maps, but yes, all of them would have some type of a mapping platform.
Okay. Would that be consistent with this past draft that we heard about earlier?
It's my opinion that Corporal Payne probably is misusing some terms there. I don't see any possibility of the FBI CAS team producing a CAS draft report on the 23rd. I think he's probably mistaken that he saw some type of CAS work product, which would be this map, before they export all those results into a report. So I believe that he probably saw some mapping through a mapping platform. It would really surprise me if there was a physical report. It would be completely out of character.
In that first AT&T report, did you, or request search warrant and affidavit, did you see the request for advanced timing reports?
I did. It's in both search warrants.
Did you get a copy of that in either return?
I have not seen any timing data in this case.
In December of 2022, did AT&T have this advanced timing report?
They absolutely did.
Was it something that they could produce?
It absolutely was.
And in May of 2023, how's it different to that May of 2023?
Prior to May of 2023, only certain agencies were receiving this timing report, the FBI being one of them. What was referenced earlier about the May 23 date, that is when AT&T started offering the same type of reports. It's a little different, but it's the basic timing report to the state and local law enforcement as well. But prior to that date, state and local law enforcement would have to leverage these reports through federal agencies that had access to them.
Let's talk about the return on the second AT&T warrant. Did that have the tower list, the regional tower list in it?
It did not.
Did it have call detail records?
It did.
What time span?
I believe it's from June 23rd of 2022. The historical was as of the date of December 23rd, but there was also a real-time PIN register that was added that extended, I want to say, to the end of December, maybe very first of January.
What's a real-time PIN register?
So the second search warrant asked for a couple of different things. Historical records going back to June 23rd to the current date, which was December 23rd. The second piece that was asked for is real-time data from the network, which is commonly referred to as a PIN register, or trap and trace. And it's the ability of law enforcement to monitor network connections in real time. So as that phone connects to the network for certain reasons, I can see those connections. It's not a wiretap. I can't hear anything. I can't see content, but I can tell the phone is connected to a particular cell tower. There's also what's referred to as ping data, and that's going to be AT&T's estimation of where the phone is at, and that's provided by latitude and longitude, and that comes in every 15 minutes.
What is the purpose of one of those devices?
I should probably clarify. The third thing was the authorization for a cell site simulator. So it was a combination of all of these. Just as a matter of policy, and I think pretty much every law enforcement agency in the world has adopted this if they can. To use the cell site simulator, you want to see a real-time feed of the phone. Otherwise, you're driving in circles where the phone may not be. So it gives law enforcement the ability to have a general understanding of where a phone is operating or functioning. And then I can use the cell site simulator to do it. There's a number of reasons an agency might do this. This search warrant actually says they were requesting these because they were trying to locate where Mr. Koberger was.
Going to the understanding what's happening right now, is that used so that you don't just know where the phone was 5 minutes ago, but you know where it is right now?
Within a time period, it's not a perfect system. There is a little bit of a delay and the information comes in intermittently. So it's not a real-time feed of giving constant evaluation of where that phone is. But if you know what you're looking at and you've done it long enough, you get a pretty good idea.
I heard you say that this is to try to find out where Mr. Koberger is. In the information that supported this warrant, Didn't they already know where Mr. Koberger was?
I reviewed a lot of documents that clearly state not only did they know where he was, they had a surveillance team with eyes on. So yes, it would be unusual for an agency to request this type of equipment. And I need to qualify that. This truck driving around is about $1 million. It's not something you just park in the garage at night. It's a very expensive resource. It's a very technical resource that requires a lot of training and skill to use properly. So typically when it's used, it is used for, hey, we don't know where this person is at and we need to find them. And to be very honest, I don't have an issue with that part. I've used it 1,000 times. It's a good tool. It's a great tool. However, if I know where a subject is and I'm physically watching him, it's probably disingenuous for me to get a search warrant justifying it that I need to find him.
Makes sense. Thank you. I want to switch gears and talk about the CASBIZ program.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the CASBIZ program?
I am.
Why?
I've worked with a lot of agencies that have used it and accessed it. So I've worked on cases where we've used different mapping platforms to do kind of a compare and contrast as a peer review. So they would create a work product, we would create a work product, and then we would check each other's work. Because at the end of the day, we're just looking for the accuracy. We want to see if there's any errors in that. I would say I probably have worked with the CASBIZ reports several dozen times, maybe as many as 50. I'm aware of some of the updates they've made. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm aware that they have added a feature that you can now input tower density, so you can create these estimated ranges, if you will. And I'm very familiar with the basic settings that you have certain controls you can do, like time zone. What time zone am I going to have it? Am I going to use the coverage density? Am I going to save my work? Am I going to just exit the program? I physically have seen those features a number of times.
As it relates to this particular case, have you had a chance to look at any exhibits prepared by Detective Mallory using the CASBIZ program?
Yes, but I should clarify. One of them I'm pretty familiar with. I believe it's State Exhibit 48 that was used for the grand jury. The others I had never seen until I believe it was last week. So I'm probably gonna have to look at those if you're gonna ask me questions on those. But State's 48, I'm pretty familiar with.
I want to ask you a question about that. I'll ask you some other questions about the records we received last week. I'm going to have you handed what was admitted last week as States R, just my copy of it so that we know what we're talking about here.
Okay.
I'm curious about what was needed to go into CASBIZ to create that.
So when I open the CASBIZ program, I have to input what I'm going to refer to as source data. So let me define source data is any data that is an electronic format, typically a text file, that the CASBIZ program is going to link to this mapping session and use that source data to create the images we're seeing. I can tell you right off the bat, without a doubt, this one is linked to two different source data. One is going to be a set of CDR records, so the regular AT&T CDRs. And then this particular exhibit would require the regional AT&T tower list, which is a text file that contains all of the cell site locations, most likely be Western Washington, Idaho, and Eastern Washington, Idaho, and Western Montana is typically that region. But there's no way this map was created without the AT&T tower list. It's physically impossible.
Is the AT&T tower list, was that contained in the call detail records that were obtained by search warrant relating to Mr. Koberger?
It was not.
All right. And in the CASBIZ program, when you input the CDR call detail records and you input the tower list, does that program create any type of log?
It does, and I want to make the record really clear on what I'm testifying to, because it can get kind of confusing when we start talking about different versions. The CASBIZ program offers two styles of mapping. I can just default to a normal size, what they're going to refer to as a wedge shape, which is representing the sector the device connected to. If I was doing that, all I need is the AT&T records, because the AT&T CDRs actually have the tower information that's required for that mapping. As soon as I change that feature, though, to add coverage areas, the estimated coverage areas, and now these little wedge shapes or these sectors are all different sizes, the CAS program has to be linked to a tower list that has location of all of those towers. That's the only way the program knows how to size the cell sites. So I just want to clarify, if I'm mapping the CDRs without coverage areas, all I need is the CDRs. If I'm mapping the coverage areas in the CAS-BIS program, I have to have a tower list. This one, I can see 3 different sectors. 2 of them, if anybody sees this exhibit, just to make the record really clear, they're really hard to see. One of them is just under the N as in Nora, under the word Pullman. The other one is right by the L in Pullman. But they're different sizes. And that tells me right off the bat that the AT&T tower list is used.
And why are they different sizes? Mind me again, please.
Cell tower density. We see a great big sector right in the middle of this map, and I'm not familiar with the area here. It's basically south of Pullman and south of Moscow, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Not a lot of cell towers out there, so one tower covers a very large area. Then the other 2 are going to be in Pullman. It's kind of hard to see on this map, but I believe they are going to be ones that are on Washington State University campus. A lot more cell towers, the coverage is much smaller. So it's just a way to look at tower density to kind of estimate how far certain towers may connect to a phone where others may have a very short range.
And is it based on that difference in towers that causes you to know that a certain type of tower report was used?
Yeah, it is a basic algorithm that uses tower density, and the only way to determine tower density is to have a list that has all of the towers, not just the ones that were used by the cell phone.
Okay. Do we have the list of the tower list that was used by Detective Mallory in developing that exhibit?
Detective Mallory stated he did not use a tower list to create this exhibit, so no, but I'm not sure how to answer that other than I haven't seen one.
Should it be there?
It is physically impossible to create this map without it.
If you had the logs from the CAS-BIS program, would that give you more information about what was used?
It would. We would need the CAS-BIS program as well. The logs are saving certain settings, and it's a JSON format, which is just a software language. We could load that JSON file into the CAS-BIS program, and for the most part, we could replicate exactly what was done.
If I understand that, just turn it around. In order to replicate that and to see what was done, you would need a CAS-BIS program. Is that right?
Correct, and preferably the same version that was used.
And you need a JSON file that was made by Detective Mallory. Is that right?
Correct, and depending on where this software program is, we would probably need the source data again because it may not be automatically linked. Anybody who did PowerPoint 10 years ago, you make a PowerPoint on one computer, you save it on a thumb drive, you go to a different computer, all the links are broken. It could create a situation like that. So you probably need the original source data as well, just to be sure.
What's the original source data?
In this case, it would be the AT&T CDRs and the cell tower, the regional cell tower list.
From that time?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, no, if we're trying to recreate this work, this is where it gets a little bit complex. We would need the exact AT&T tower list that Mallory used but didn't use, which makes it really difficult because AT&T updates these on a fairly regular basis. If he used a November list and I use an April list, the results could be different.
Okay. Why would the results be different and given the month of the video?
AT&T could have added or subtracted cell sites in the area, which would change the tower density. They could also reconfigure those cell sites, so maybe they point different directions. Given the rural area, 2 or 3 months, I don't think you're going to see much of a change, but it's always possible. So if we're talking about recreating this exhibit exactly the way it was, we would need not just the regional tower list, we would need to know which version of the regional tower list to use.
Is that generally why people in your field save their work?
We're talking best practices 101. We're creating a work product that is going to be used in a forensic nature, not showing how an extraction is done, not showing the source data that I use to create an exhibit. It happens, but for the most part, it's unheard of, especially somebody who is a subject matter expert in digital forensics. I won't say I haven't seen it, but it is rare.
Thank you. Let's move on and talk about the CAST draft. Let's have you.
I'm sorry, Ms. Taylor. The CAST report
Draft. Have you?
Can I ask how much longer on this? Because we're 90 minutes. I need to give the quarter break. But if you're going to finish, in 5 or 10 minutes, that's probably fine.
Your Honor, I would say we probably have 15 or 20 minutes or so. If the court wants to do a break, we can,
Yeah, let's take a recess. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. Relax.
Okay, let's go back to Virginia.
Oh, Lord. August 19th. Thick ass limbs on.
You see that? She put up a no trespassing sign. Look at you guys. Look at. She did.
I should call and say I stole.
She's a mess.
She put up a no trespassing sign.
Not the same thing.
Did you see? There it is.
Fuck.
Oh my God.
All right. This is for unauthorized burning in the city. Give you a court date of August 19th. Thick ass limbs on. Make something of that.
I should call and say I stole. You get written permission from her and she'll still swear. See a weed barrier or stuff too? There's a whole roll of weed barrier.
What I need is your signature here, signing this, not your permission. Let's see it. Once it takes it, we'll get it from. Tell him to hold it. Oh. I don't think that's any good. That's just gotta be.
If I talked to you yesterday. Yeah, whatever.
And I've got video of that when I called last week. That's fine. That tea and that blue sandwich, whole sandwich.
That sandwich is mine.
It is mine.
What do you do with all this stuff you buy? You come up, you was in my alley. I talked to that cop yesterday. I'm going up here to get a warrant on you for trespassing on my property. I done told you to stay away from my house. I done told you to stay away.
Come on. Here,
Go ahead, you call whoever you want to. I'll catch you out.
Look, let's just get this stuff. And...
Don't you shut. Why the hell did you bring her to my house anyway? Why do you keep getting me in your shit? You don't live at my house. Then she gonna call. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get her. I done tried everything I can. I'm gonna catch you at that house. I'm gonna catch you out that house. Well, wait, hey, come on. Come on.
Come on.
Come on. You ain't scared.
Come on.
The law's right here.
Hey.
Come on.
Stop. Hey, Tracy.
Stop. Go on. You come on. You take any picture you want.
Don't give me that.
Yeah. Ain't it against the law to take pictures of people when you don't want it?
We get your frustration 100%. Okay.
I'm tired of it.
I feel you, but what we can't do is be out here trying to entice a fight and stuff like that. We're not gonna do that. Okay, because then that's you breaking the law. You have nothing to do with this other than you're dealing with the aftermath.
Except
right?
I spent $90 on these stupid ass tours. And I'm raising two of his kids.
That's something you need to take up with him.
Well, he's going to have to find a place to go because he knows what's going to happen.
Is that all, Paul?
Why do you even want that junk? And where do you think you've taken this junk?
Oh, that's his mama. That's his mommy? Okay, there's the mama.
See, I have to look like a damn fool because of this.
Well, all you can do is stay away from it. You're gonna have to figure it out.
I know, he's gonna have to. You know what? Before I'd have anything to do with it, I'd buy me a dog. I would buy me a dog if I did anything like that. Yeah, I would. I'd buy me a dog.
They just set up a police department right next to her house.
Oh, just don't come back here.
I'm not. If she sees me, I'm telling you right now, if I'm on the road, she pulls up beside me, I'm fucking taking the goddamn windshield out of that car.
No, what you need to is stay away from her.
Oh, I'm gonna stay away from her. You stop me on the road. You stop me on the road again, I'm gonna knock the fucking windshield out the car. That is the last time, Tracy. That will be the last time.
Can't forget his wagon. Look at, he's got a red wagon. Come on now.
And I'm gonna take you and your stuff. I'm gonna take him down to his ex-wife, down in Lorraine. I've already called him. But that's where he's going.
That might be the best
Sounds
place.
good to me.
Away from that. That's where you're going. You're gonna be completely out of your business. You can't live in my house.
Be the best thing for him.
Yeah, get out of the damn area. Let's go. Don't worry about it. You post whatever you want to post, big girl. You won't have to worry about seeing him no more. Yeah, that's right. Now you stay away. Come on, I'm going to just call Henry and Lou and just take off this today. I'm tired of this. I'm going to call your son who's got an appointment at 2 o'clock at the counselor.
All right.
Bye, sweetie.
See you. Do what now?
Take my shit. I just bought his no date flashlight last night. They didn't do nothing out of my purse. What man goes in another woman's purse anyway?
Come get a warrant on it for a flashlight or
You
whatever it
just
is.
saw him take my
I didn't
shit.
see a flashlight. I seen a sewing machine.
You saw that blue pole, that cobalt sander. I just bought it.
I don't know whose it is. Okay, y'all gonna have to figure
Out
out.
of my yard.
Well, y'all gonna have to figure out
Well,
civil
so
court.
did all the other
Okay.
stuff. It was all
And
piled
I said
together.
what was his.
You need to come down to talk to a magistrate. What you need to do is
But is
leave.
it going to be prosecuted? That's the thing. That's why I haven't done a lot of this. Because if
What
it's not
do you
going to
want
be
us to do?
prosecuted because he's
You want to know
snitching,
why? Because when you get to court, all of y'all don't want to testify against each other.
I ain't got
You
no
are
problem.
abusing.
I've never
Listen
said
to me.
don't arrest me.
All three of
see
you
where he grabbed
guys.
me? You see a thumbprint?
We're
Did you
we're
call
hearing
us?
about
That was
this
last
now that
night.
he's gone.
Did you call us?
Yeah, last night.
Who'd you talk to?
I left my yard.
Did
because
you give him
he
a
was
written
trying to
statement
bust
about it?
down
Did you give him a written statement about it?
No, I came in and went to bed. He was trying to bust down my windows in
Did
the
you
truck.
call us after? Did you say come meet me somewhere and look at what happened to my arm?
No,
None of that was
I
ever
was in
mentioned.
the front yard and I went in the door and I went to bed, which is what I was doing when he was trying to bust down my
What do you
windows.
want us to
Put him in his place, y'all.
What do you mean?
I'm not
Put
his
him in his
daddy.
place.
I know.
do? I need a violation of law clear.
Well, he just
No, I
stole
need
from
a
my
clear
property.
Come get a warrant on him. Okay, we're not. I'm not putting my name. I'm not putting my name on a warrant for y'all's nonsense y'all got going on. Okay, I'm not.
Well,
So you
just
have to come.
once have my back.
You have to come
That's
get.
all I ask.
You have to
Just
come
once
get
have
your
my-
warrant.
You know what he said?
I
He
don't
said
know.
He can get by with doing this because I don't have nobody.
I don't know nothing about that. I don't know who
How
he
do I
knows.
not
so-
have your back when we're showing up? We're putting out a
I
fire
do believe
and
you've got my back.
and I'm
I
giving
don't
a-
believe you've got
Yeah.
my back.
Okay.
And I thought you was a
I'm-
good cop.
That's fine.
well,
I don't
is.
pick sides, so
Yeah, you do.
I'm surely not on Paul's. I halfway know the dude, so.
Well, he uses your name
But
enough.
well, I can't. That's out of my control. But it's gonna be up to you. You have enough to get a protective order. Come up and get a protective order.
He's starting fires in your lawn. Why don't you come and get a protection order? Get a no trespass. Follow through. That's what I'm asking you to do. Okay. I gave him a summons for,
You know,
for today's
Laura's a
deal.
federal snitch. We know this. And I get thrown.
We don't know that.
I'm telling y'all, she testified against Camille McDaniel. All right.
Yeah, that was what, 15 years ago?
Yeah, and then she just got a bunch of people busting Roanoke or something.
We don't know that.
Not my crew. Not my crew. But when you're threatened that you're going to get, conspiracy, he's going to plant shit on me, but I smoke weed. Oh my God. And you know what? He stole my weed in front of me and John Snyder. While I was talking to John, right in front of us. Wait, and it's almost not even a crime. You know what I'm saying? I'll be all right if he smoked weed.
Stay away from him. Starts right there. Stay away from him.
Well, he's saying that you follow him around the city. Hey, he's saying the same thing about you. He's saying that you're following him. We don't know. But somehow, he always ends up here and he's welcome. Every time we get called here.
I stopped feeding stray dog. I won't even let him have water out the spigot.
Okay, well, he needs to stay off the property. The only way that you can get that done to give us something to do is to go get it on paper.
Because it's going to become a point where I protect myself and my stuff.
Quit bringing him here.
But when he shows up, I'm telling y'all, 4 o'clock
Call
in the morning,
us.
they're
Call us.
waking me
Okay.
up to tell me he's walking through my backyard.
You ain't got to answer that door. Keep your doors locked. Call 911.
No, he's out there stealing shit.
Call 911.
And then he don't get arrested.
Well, I need something. I need trespass. I need something, right? It's kind of hard for us to do our job when one second it's okay for him to be here because you brought him here, and then 2 hours later you don't want him here, and then you're wanting him arrested for trespassing when you brought him here.
Well, a visitor.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he don't live here.
Just because you know.
You hear her backtracking? Paul ain't supposed to be at that house because of kids. They accuse me of calling CPS.
As long as you can appreciate kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I do, and I know it's getting on y'all's nerves too.
It's not that it's getting on the nerves. It's we want to help you, but we have nothing to help you with.
You got to help yourself first.
I mean,
and I'm worried. What about when my temper takes over? This motherfucker gets up in my face and stuff.
You need to show us that you're taking the initiative to stop it. Because what ends up happening is we get in this tug of war every single time that we come here. Well, was he welcome? At what point was he not welcome?
And we don't know whose stuff is whose. We don't know what you've allowed him to. We don't know that.
I mean, he's got a pile of stuff, and you're saying the majority of it was, but then that 1 or 2 things wasn't. He's saying it is his. That's all civil. If he's not allowed to be here, then his property shouldn't be here either, right?
Well, and that's he's used that wood as an excuse for how long.
If this was any other circumstance, we wouldn't have let him leave with that
and
stuff.
He still left that to people.
How many times have I told him, hey, he needs to go to court to get that stuff back, right? I've said that to him.
Yeah, but
today you let him take stuff off the property, and he added more to it. Maybe I don't know, but you're gonna have to deal with that with the magistrate because it's just the way it is. You allowed him to be here with that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you didn't see him.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see that.
Just now?
Yeah, that's why I said, Ryan, did you see that? When he was loading that stuff in that sewing machine in the back.
Come get a protective order.
And I'm telling y'all, twice I found the gas jug by my house after he told me he was going to burn me down.
If you feel threatened, come talk to the magistrate. That's all I can get. But as of right now, we don't have a fire in your yard anymore, right?
And he left that mess.
He was given a summons because of it. Okay. Number 2, he's got his stuff, the majority of his stuff. Maybe some things belong to you. I don't know. And he's gone now. So the problem has been solved.
And that I'm gonna haul away. And that
whatever you decide to do with what's on your property, I'm good with.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because remember I had that other stuff piled up.
Okay. Listen, from what I understand, everything that he took, that was it. Whatever's left on your property, you do what you want.
And that, that flashlight, don't say.
I get it. So do I. That's why.
It's a respect thing.
I'm talking to him. Okay.
And that stop and hurt it. But I have to.
They have a fire in the backyard. Location, fire in the backyard, 12:15.
He's got the hose. Huh? Nope. Why are you back there, Tracy?
Exactly. I called last night.
I guess you didn't go get the no truck site.
Well, I've been working. I go lunchtime. I get my shower and I go. What I got to do? Threatening me with his old ass mama.
Female belongings were being put in there as well.
But yeah, I mean, that's $150. I know, right? So take it.
Did you ever go to the sheriff's office?
No, because they weren't there when I went down.
Well, it's been like a week ago.
I know. You know,
If you want him away from here, you really want
Grandma. Grandma, you didn't hear from the beginning. There's going to be different views from the different officers' body cam.
Oh, all right.
All this here is leading up to this dude being shot.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't have it right now, but believe me, I'm going to get it.
This is unbelievable, this woman.
Oh.
What?
Testifying, we are still on direct. Ms. Taylor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Ray, when we left off at our break, I was about to talk to you about the CAS draft report.
Okay.
So we'll start there. Have you reviewed a CAS draft report in Mr. Koberger's case?
I have.
And from your review of that report, can you tell what records were relied on by Agent Balance to create that report?
That report would include, he had to have the AT&T CDRs, the full 6 months, a tower list to make some conversions that I'm seeing on the report, and also drive test data, which would be another form of source data, and then a mapping platform to ingest the drive test data into to analyze it to create these shapes that are then put into the draft report.
Okay, I think I have that. Do we have the same call detail records that Nick Balance used to create his draft report?
Yes, well, I believe so.
Do those records appear to come from the December 23rd, 2022 to AT&T warrants?
I would say primarily the second warrant from what I've reviewed.
And is that because the CAST draft report spans the full 6 months of those records?
That is correct.
Okay, and those records, did those come from the second AT&T search warrant?
That is also correct.
Can you tell anything about the tower report or how the tower information was used by Agent Nick Balance?
The tower identifiers that are predominantly used, not exclusively, but predominantly used in the CAS draft report did not come from the report AU. If there's a conversion that can be made, and someone would have to have the national AT&T tower list, or at least the regional list. And I would take information from the CDRs. I would look at certain columns in this AT&T tower list, and I could get certain identifiers that are now being populated to the CAS report, if that makes sense.
Do we have a copy of the tower list that you believe was used?
We recently received 4 different versions. And when I say versions, they're just by month. And I believe we have August, September, November, and maybe December, or maybe it's in October. I'd have to go back and look. So far, I've only had time to look at the November. And from what I can tell, all of that appears to be accurate.
Would we need the October or the missing month to be able to do our work accurately?
It's a really good practice. I'm sure that's why the FBI included it. If I'm mapping records over a long period of time, like in this case, 6 months, I do want to see the different versions of the tower list to make sure that if a change was made within the network during that 6-month period, a tower I map in July may map differently in November. So it is important to have that data.
We have 4 of the 6 months, but not the other 2.
Correct. It would be helpful to even maybe see May, because there may not have been an update made in late June, early July. So May's would be what I would start with.
Can you tell if drive testing was done to create that cast draft?
Yes, there's images in the latter part of the report up around slides 100 and above. I believe there's a total of 4 images that were populated to that report that would require drive testing.
When somebody's doing drive testing, do you expect data to be produced?
Absolutely. Creating a work product that uses drive testing and then coming into court and testifying without the drive testing is no different than creating an exhibit like this and then saying, well, we don't have to produce the AT&T records that created this. The source data for drive testing is the drive test.
Do we have the drive testing that was done by the FBI to help create that report?
We have what I believe is the majority. There are some significant pieces missing. I can't say that those missing pieces exist and haven't been turned over, or they were erroneously not collected. I don't know which, but there are some pretty significant pieces that are missing.
I'm going to ask you some questions about that. But first, I want to know when you first saw drive testing data that was produced to us in Discovery. What did that cover?
I found a file in the Discovery, I want to say early December, that included drive test, but it was about a 3-minute sample that covered less than a quarter of a mile in a completely irrelevant location. So it added no value to my analysis at all.
What were you looking for? What time frame and location were you looking for based on the CAS draft report review?
I would expect significant drive testing around any location that coverage maps were being used in the CAS report. I would expect significant documentation on potential routes that this device may have taken. I would expect significant documentation on the crime scene.
You just told us that you think we have most of it, but there's some significant parts that are missing.
Yeah, and I want to qualify that just so it's really clear, because I understand it's starting to get very technical. There's over 500,000 lines of data that was turned over. So I'll make it clear, there's a lot of data that has been produced. I would say, in my opinion, looking at what's been produced, probably 2 or 3% is missing, but it's not the amount of data or the time of the data, it's the locations of the data. Some of the most significant locations in this case, we're missing some data.
Those significant locations, have they been depicted or captured on the CAS draft report?
They have.
And tell me what those locations are. What are we missing?
I am unable to find any measurements along, I believe it's 270, the Moscow-Pullman Road. If you drove the most direct route from Pullman to Moscow or vice versa, pretty much as soon as you're leaving Pullman to the time that you arrive in Moscow, we are missing that entire stretch. And if there's ever been a case that we need to look at, what does it look like when a phone travels from Pullman to Moscow? This is probably the case. We have the neighborhood around the crime scene, but we don't have the crime scene. Normally, that wouldn't be too terribly significant, because if it's a flat area, there's not a lot of vegetation or mountains. You could probably interpret the same. The location of this crime scene is very unique because it sits on a mountain. Part of it is shielded by a mountain. There's a lot of other big, thick, dense apartment buildings there. Your phone is going to behave differently inside of that residence than it might on the road behind the residence or in front of the residence. I can't find any drive test data that actually encapsulates any part of the property.
you talked about the device that helps do the driving testing or that captures the data while you're doing the driving testing. What's that called again?
It's a drive test scanner. The most common one used in law enforcement is created by Road and Schwartz, that same company I referred to earlier. I'm familiar with the hardware that the FBI uses, and it is a Road and Schwartz scanner.
Is it called Gladiator?
Gladiator is the company that sells the product to the FBI. Gladiator actually buys this product from Road Schwartz, and it does what they call white labeling. So they buy the hardware from Road Schwartz and they kind of slap their sticker on it and they put their software in it and then they sell it to the FBI. But ultimately it is a Road Schwartz piece of hardware.
And once you have that piece of hardware, once you have this device, does it just work forever, or is there anything that has to be done to make sure it's working properly?
It is a technical piece of equipment that takes measurements. It is required to be calibrated. The best way that for probably everybody in the courtroom to think of, if we know a little old school, is the old breath test. If you had a DUI and law enforcement couldn't produce the calibration records of the breath test, it was really problematic. Similar thing here. We want to see that the device is calibrated. In this case, it's really important because, keep in mind, I reviewed thousands of these drive tests over my career. There is a significant gap that I believe there's something malfunctioning in the equipment, or the operators are just not paying attention. I can't tell you which one it is. So in this case, the calibration records to show that that device is functioning properly are really critical.
Do we have those calibration records on the device that was there more than one device used?
There's actually 2 devices used.
And was this drive test done on just one day? Is this a one-time shot?
No, I think there's maybe 5 days total that I've seen drive test data collected.
Okay. So now let's talk about the calibration for this instrument or this machine. Did we get records for all the machines that were used by the FBI in this case?
We got the calibration records that were taken prior to the use of these of the samples. It'd be really helpful to have the calibration records after the use. So we kind of need to bookend those because we know that it left Road Schwartz factory in October and everything was working great. When it came back, we don't know when it came back and we don't know if it was functioning properly when it came back. It's not uncommon for there to be errors. If I saw a report and it said it came in and it had 2 errors, it's not the end of the world. The sky doesn't fall. You have to get into the documentation to see what those errors were. Normally, the device kind of self-calibrates itself. If you know what you're looking at, the major concerns that you would see when calibration is off, it becomes very obvious because results are really flawed. That's where I have a concern in this case is we have what I consider a significant chunk of data for specifically a location where the instrument is running. There's no doubt it's functioning, but it's not properly collecting AT&T data, which is concerning as to why.
Because there were multiple drive tests done, and you talked about bookending these calibration reports, would you need to bookend all of the time that the drive testing was done with these calibration reports? And what I'm saying is if there's something done in November and then drive testing done in December and then more drive testing done in January and then maybe some in March, do you need the bookend calibration reports around each of those drive tests?
You would. To date, I haven't seen any drive test data, I believe, beyond January 5th. And I'm not sure the time zone, so maybe it could creep into January 6th. But if there's any drive test data after the first week of January, I'm unaware of.
Okay. So in our case, which months are we missing?
For the calibration?
Yes.
Whatever the next calibration, the FBI would choose when to send these devices in. So whenever that next calibration report was generated for these 2 devices.
On the calibration certificates we have, I think you told us that after the maintenance, it went back into service and passed inspection, was functioning properly.
Well, when it came in, it didn't have multiple errors, but when it went out, it was functioning properly.
Okay. Is that why you need to see the next one on the other side of the drive testing?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, when we're thinking about the data that the drive test data that we have that's missing some significant portions. Could it be because the machine wasn't working right all the time they tried to do drive testing?
Yes.
Okay. Is it also possible that the FBI agents using this machine weren't properly trained to do the drive test data or to do the drive testing and collect data?
I know of the 2 FBI agents from prior lives. I believe they're properly trained.
So we're looking at either the machine itself isn't functioning properly, or could that data have been pulled out of what we got?
If we're talking about possible scenarios that would cause the shortcoming of data, maybe it was never captured in the first place. I can't speak to that. The machine erring, at least during one portion of this drive test, I've seen similar errors before. I'm pretty sure they had a small period of time where it had been a very busy day and it kind of gave up for a little while, like any computer will, and needed to be reset. Could things be extracted and us not know? It's always possible. I can't rule that out.
Is the missing data important to you to fulfill your duties in Mr. Koberger's case?
I don't recall when I got involved in this case on the day where I could actually start looking at evidence. I've had a concern since the very first day I saw the CAS draft report that there are significant errors in the drive testing. It was before I even saw the drive testing. I can look at the coverage areas and I can tell you they're wrong. So yes, it's not a concern that they're wrong. People make mistakes. We can fix things. It's a concern that I still don't have the source data that any expert, not just myself, but anybody could sit down and look at and say, okay, I see what's happening here. Here's how we fix this. Unfortunately, that mistake has a ripple effect, and I'm seeing multiple errors that are happening as a result. So that's why this data is important, is we've reached a point that we need to determine, is this just human error? Is this accidental? Is it intentional? Is there other things at play here that's changing this narrative to where there's clearly some manipulation of the original data?
And having that data, will that help us answer that question?
It's the only way we're going to answer that question.
All right, I have just a couple of other questions for you, and I'm going to depart the CAST report and the drive test data a little bit, except as an investigator or as a person doing an analysis of this case, did the drive test data tell you where a phone traveled to indicate other investigation that you should do?
Technically, the call detail records tell us that. The drive test data help us become more accurate with that. AT&T is one of the best companies in this particular situation to show device movement because we get a constant connection. So when, and I will emphasize, when all of the data is mapped, and I'm talking about the CDRs, we can get a really good idea. Hey, a phone traveled north for 10 miles and then it traveled east. The drive test data would actually allow us to replicate and recreate these tower handoffs that we're seeing to come up with that first theory to now we can say, in order to do this and hit these towers in the sequence that it did, it has to be driving on this highway. And then when it went east, it most likely turned onto this highway. So the drive test data helps us get very specific with what the CDRs mean.
As an investigator in performing an analysis work done in this case, when you have the CDRs, the call detail records that tell you where a phone's been, is that useful in directing your investigation to what other evidence might be out there, like videotapes?
I have to qualify my answer because I'm not sure if you're asking specifically for this case or in general. Yes, you map all of the data. And especially if you're going to justify 6 months worth of data on somebody's cell phone, you map every single connection that there is in those records. From what I have reviewed, the FBI mapped 6% of the data that came in. Mallory's testimony and what I've seen through here, he was up to about 18%. So by either standard, more than 80% on both accounts were never mapped or accounted for. And I'm not talking overall from every single day for 6 months. I'm talking about the timeframes that are chosen. So for example, this time period that's represented here is where I'm getting the 18%.
And that's the 48 hours.
This is specifically from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. on the morning of the 13th, arguably the most critical time period of this entire investigation. They mapped a handful of connections. When I say a handful, they mapped 18%. When you add the other 82%, it tells a much more detailed story. When we put the drive test data on top of that, you can get even more refined. But to answer your question on any case, that's this case, on any case, and we teach best practices. We've established best practices going back to 2008 in law enforcement of what you do with this type of data. It is a terrible practice to justify probable cause for this very detailed call detail records that give breadcrumb-like trails for individuals and then not map it. We justify an entire probable cause statement saying we have to have this. Not mapping it and then making decisions and work products with leaving that out is extremely problematic.
Last week, we received some additional records that Detective Mowry found when he was preparing for his testimony on this mission to help. Have you had a chance to review those records?
I have. A couple of them are very technical, so I'm not going to say that I've mastered them yet, but I have a good idea of what was provided and what it means.
Based on your, I guess, not as thorough as you'll do review of these records, do you have a sense as to whether these records matter to us and what we're doing to defend Mr. Koberger?
Given the timing of these records, from what I can tell in the emails that were produced by Detective Mowry, these records were generated on the 23rd of December. It's when everything starts with probable cause statements. If I had to pick a time when the wheels fell off the wagon, that's the date. There are statements and there's assumptions made in the records that will never be supported by the data. There's a lot of claims that are said in these emails, and even the name files of the records are problematic. But it does not represent what it's claimed to represent.
Sounds like those might be pretty important to us defending Mr. Koberger.
I could give examples, but I know it's a very technical thing, so I'm not, it could be extremely impactful to either side. I'm not saying just in defending Mr. Koberger, it could be extremely impactful in prosecuting Mr. Koberger. The problem's the problem, not what the data helps or hurts.
The content of the data, though, is it helpful to us in representing Mr. Koberger?
It absolutely is helpful. Everything that I've seen to date is concerning to me because it's exculpatory. And I need to clarify this. When all of the records are produced and the dust settles and I have time to review it, I reserve the right to say, no, now I'm seeing everything. Here's what I'm seeing. Because of the piecemealing of the data, because of the missing data, because of data that I'm reviewing that is incredibly inaccurate, everything that is missing is absolutely in the benefit of the defense right now. There's other reports that I believe are missing that I can't tell you are in the benefit of Mr. Koberger or in the benefit of the state. If I was contacted on December 1st by Moscow Police Department, there are things I would have absolutely said, you get this today, do not hesitate, and especially come December 23rd. Not because of who it's helpful for, but because those documents are the only things we're going to get that's going to be able to allow us to interpret what it really means. When we don't get those documents and we piecemeal things, it creates this narrative that is very harmful for the defense's case. As I've got more documents, I'm finding it's not harmful for the defense's case. There's a lot of misstatements that have been made. So yes, to your question, to date, it is very helpful for Mr. Koberger. I reserve the right to change that opinion in 6 months, depending on what type of documents are released and what's out there.
Fair enough. I need just a minute, but I don't think I have any other questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Ray, thank you. I don't have any other questions right now, but hold on. The prosecutor might.
All right. Ms. Taylor, Ms. Dennings.
No, no, we don't have any questions at this time.
All right, may this witness be excused.
You may, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ray, you're free to stay. You're free to leave if you like. Sure. Thank you. Another witness?
Your Honor, we do not have any other witnesses. We have argument for the court.
Okay. Let's go ahead then.
Your Honor, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start with Ms. NASA. She's going to cover one of the requests specific to the grand jury subpoenas, and then I'll cover the rest of this morning's argument.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, to facilitate this argument on this point, I am going to hand you defense exhibits A and B that were submitted in our records for today. I want you to be able to look at them while I'm talking.
Okay, thank you.
As of today, there have been at least 50 federal grand jury subpoenas that have been issued in this case. Exhibits A and Exhibits B are an example of copies of grand jury subpoenas that we have received out of those more than 50. And what I didn't provide to you that goes behind that what we got with those is the subpoenas include attachment A, which explains what is being subpoenaed. And then what has been produced is the responses to those subpoenas. And in some of the subpoenas, we also have the certification by the person who has produced the records in response to the subpoena. Some of them are missing. We have asked the state to produce all of the subpoenas, and their response is that they are not in possession and control of those subpoenas, and they do not intend to use the subpoenas as an exhibit. And we have not justified why we need those subpoenas. And for those reasons, they are not going to produce them. I'd like to begin by saying that as it relates to any argument that the state is not in possession and control, rather than beat the dead horse on that issue, Idaho Supreme Court came down in 2023 and made it crystal clear that anybody that's acting on behalf of as an agent of the state puts those records in the hands of the state, and they need to produce them. State versus Pendleton, 2003. The other thing is that in terms of the state arguing that they are not going to use a subpoena as an exhibit, that is not in and of itself a defense to not produce a document to us. We have a million reasons why we need to look at documents. We understand that out of the 51 terabytes that have been produced, that not all of that is evidence that's going to be coming before the court or the jury, but it doesn't mean that they aren't material or exculpatory. The subpoenas, based on reviewing the records, are in the hands of basically three agents. There is an FBI forensic agent by the name of forensic accountant, Michael Douglas. There's a special agent, Travis Shirley, and there is another agent, Mary Tyndall. These are the three agents that are receiving the subpoenas, reaching out to the providers that they're serving and asking for the documents. For the court to understand why we need these documents, I want to tell you what we're doing with discovery and timelines. There are more than 100 search warrants in this case. There are more than 50 grand jury subpoenas in this case. You've heard all kinds of information about the probable cause affidavit and the timing of that. Timing in this case for the defense is everything. So we are creating timelines that put in the dates of affidavits of warrants, the information that's received, and the date that it's produced. With subpoenas, we don't get a copy of the subpoena, and all we get is the warrant or is the subpoena return. We don't know the scope of what the state has asked for. We don't know the
Did you just call me?
Yes, ma'am. You better get over to Chad. They got a verdict.
I'm here. There's nothing there.
That's pretty interesting because the KTVB says live verdict is in, and the people in the chat are losing their minds. They're gonna.
Here I am.
Okay.
Looking. So we better just keep it right here. Not going nowhere.
Yeah, because it says live verdict is in.
Let me see what East Idaho News says. Okay. He's guilty.
Put it on, babe.
What's the latest, Nate? Nothing.
People in the KTVB are going, go live, come on. Quick verdict equals guilty, people are saying.
Why isn't Nate hasn't said anything?
Somebody just said, I read it on Nate's feed. It's true. Verdict is in.
Let me look.
It's on East Idaho News.
That I was just there.
Well, it's on his feed, though.
I went to his website.
Okay, well, I don't know where they're talking about, but they said Nate just said. Verdict is in, verdict is in.
The verdict ain't going to be until 4 p.m. See, I'm not saying nothing until I hear it. Because now people, I see, I can't read other people's shit. See
It says
happened?
It says 2 p.m. Idaho time. It will be read, which means 4 o'clock my time, which is in 45 minutes.
I only want to go with not what YouTubers say. You know what I mean? But is that what Nate's saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I'm asking you. I don't know, dear.
4 p.m. Eastern time.
Nate. There we go. 2 p.m. I see it. It's on Facebook.
There you go.
It's on the website.
Well, it said it was on his feed. On Nate's feed.
I thought you meant on YouTube.
No, ma'am.
Okay, dear.
Mark.
We got a verdict, bitches. We got a verdict.
It'll be read at 2 p.m.
That's all right.
2 p.m. their time.
So
yeah.
It'll be in
45 minutes,
right?
Yes. I'm so excited because he's going to be guilty.
Can I change the title to this? Verdict in. Verdict in.
Sure you can.
Okay. Well, no, I don't know, Grandma. Verdict in. Okay.
Verdict to be read at 4 p.m. Eastern.
See, Grandma, if you understand StreamYard, I have to go to each title to wherever I'm going within StreamYard, not on YouTube, changing the title. It's a pain in the ass. Grandma, it's a pain, Grandma.
I'm sorry it's such a stress for you. It's going to be, you're going to be very happy in 45 minutes. That's all I know.
What the fuck is going on here? I'm just let me tell you, StreamYard, you're pissing me off. It won't let me change the title? Stupid.
I could try. I could log in and do it.
Fuck. This is fucked up. Sorry about the potty mouth. It just is what it is. Oh my god. Remove.
You know he's going to be guilty, though. I
Oh,
mean,
yes. All the way across the board. Now, let's guess. The judge is going to schedule for a penalty phase. What?
yeah,
Make
the
it for Monday?
sentencing.
He'll probably make it for Monday, huh?
Yeah, he could do that. Sentencing Monday. That's pretty quick.
You know, it took him longer. God, I'm really pissed off that I cannot stream on Facebook. Yeah, I swore. Yeah, I did. God, telling you. Gotta add this banner. Verdict in. There we go. So let's watch his Kohlberger crap and then, yeah. All right, people. Here we go. Kohlberger. This attorney, Ann Taylor, drives me nuts. She talks like a robot to me.
Date that the subpoena was served. And in some of them, we don't know that there is a certified return. So we can't take our timeline on warrants and our timeline on the probable cause affidavit and our timeline on everything else that we're putting in there and interlay the subpoena information that the state is getting. And we are desperate to find out the timeline in this case and when the state knew what and when. There's no question that motions to suppress are coming. Motions to suppress are coming on warrants. And whether or not those motions to suppress are based on Frank's material because misrepresentations are made depends on the timeline. So if there's a representation made in a warrant that things happened in a certain way, if we are able to look at the timeline and say, we know that the state knew this when, that gives us an answer on whether or not the suppression issue includes a truthful statement in the affidavit. And if I'm not making sense, I want you to tell me to clarify that. But we need to know the timeline of all of the evidence in this case and when the state knew what it knew, or why certain things were being looked at before Mr. Kohlberger's arrest or well into late in the year in 2023 related to the victims, and try to piece together, is that something that the state is still seeking because they're pursuing the alternate suspects that exist in this case? There's so many things that we're trying to understand. So what we're asking you to do is enter an order compelling them to produce the subpoenas. You see that they had at least two in their possession that they possess, and it will clarify it for us. And we will be able to create our timeline and put all of these things together and know when and why the state was doing these things. And just to add one other component, you know, you're hearing about cell phone records and cell phone records today being produced on warrants. Well, there were several sets of cell phone records that were produced pursuant to a grand jury subpoena. Still not clear to us why warrant versus subpoena, and they're different providers. And some of it's for phone numbers that we have to figure out who those phone numbers are. But all of this information is critical and material for us to be able to do the case, to do our work in this case. So I would ask that you enter an order to compel, and that way the state has the ability to take that to the FBI agents and say, the court has entered an order, we've got to produce the subpoenas, and we'll get the subpoenas. To the extent that the state may stand up and say, you know, we've got this TUI, demands. We've got to deal with TUI. I just want to make it really clear for the court that TUI's not an obstacle. TUI's a hoop to jump through. The code related to 28 CFR 16.21 specifically states that the purpose of TUI is not to prevent federal agents from giving states discovery in a criminal case. Purpose of TUI is because these federal departments want to know when certain records are leaving their files. Understandable, but it's not meant to keep us from getting records that we need in this case.
Thank you. Response?
Well, simply put, we can't give over what we don't have. And we do not have the majority of these subpoenas. What we do have, we've turned over. I reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office. They advised they're not going to provide.
What? Why?
Because they don't provide subpoenas. You know, just like most grand jury material, it's sealed and not typically provided.
Not typically,
not provided.
but even with a TUI letter, that wouldn't give it. We provide, they wouldn't follow that.
We have not, I'm not sure. But beyond that though, even if they were to provide it, I still don't understand how this moves the needle one way or the other. You can tell, I've detailed, there's 71 federal grand jury subpoenas. And in my response, I've detailed exactly what they were for and what records were received so that you can get the scope of what was requested from the actual records. The piece of paper that was given over saying, give us these records is all they're asking for, but they have the records. They have the important part of this.
So they have the timing based on the subpoenas
Off of
that
the
you've
records.
provided to the defense.
Off of the records provided. You can tell the scope as well as what they're for. And I've detailed exactly what they were for, the scope, in my response.
Any response?
Judge, I wouldn't be wasting the court's time asking for this if the questions were answered based on the state's response to our request for discovery. Timing is critical on when a subpoena is served, what was the scope, then we can look at the documents to see if they are actually responsive to the scope. And knowing the timing of when that was served versus when it's produced to us is different. And again, I mentioned some of these things are pre-arrest of Mr. Koberger, and some of it is in the middle, and some of it is, frankly, months after the fact, if not a year after the fact, where they're looking for things related to the victims.
So can I ask a question? Because Ms. Jennings just said that that the dates, well, all the subpoenas that were provided to you, 71 subpoenas, and each one of those had the scope of what the request was in the subpoena, and that it would be dated. No?
That's not true.
That's
not true. No. There are all kinds of different records and different methods that the people that were the businesses and the people that were asked to produce the records produce them in different form. I do not know when they received the subpoena, the timing of it, and I do not know for all of these what was the scope of what was asked for versus what was produced. I do know what's produced, but I don't know the timing. And the answer of the date discovery provided, which is in Exhibit 1, that the date that a discovery is provided to us doesn't answer the first two questions that I have, which is the timing of when they asked for it and the scope that was stated in the subpoena of what they asked for. Some companies were asked probably for a certain number of months, and they didn't have records that were responsive to those number of months, right? Because when the state's doing this investigation, they're not necessarily knowing exactly what records exist. So being able to be specific is important. And I want to touch on this issue of it. It's not in their possession. I get that. But you have complete control over what evidence is going to be coming into this case with your orders. You make it crystal clear, produce it or it's not coming in. That's the first level of sanction. And then we can just get going from there. You know, something that's destroyed, you can't produce that. There's going to be a spoliation instruction. Something that we keep repeatedly asking for and it gets past time, we're going to knock the death penalty off the table. You know, you have control to get these issues that we're struggling with fixed by saying, this is my order, produce it, or there's going to be a sanction.
You may be overestimating my power.
I think you're underestimating your power.
Well, I have a good sense of where my power starts and ends. So I don't know. I mean, there's so much discovery that has been shared. Are all of these 71 subpoenas, have they been provided to me at this point? Because I don't think I've seen those.
No, they went through a federal grand jury. So this is, you know, we haven't seen anything in terms of grand jury testimony, transcripts. What I have surmised based on my federal practice, because I spent about 50% of my time in federal court, is that they've used a federal grand jury as an investigative tool because the FBI is partnering with them. That makes complete sense. These subpoenas are in the hands of the 3 agents that I gave you the names of. They haven't come through you. They're in the hands of the agents. And so it's a matter of them just gathering the records that those agents have in their possession and providing to us. You know, and it helps us create this timeline in a case where discovery is being given to us as if we're living in a snow globe and it's just swirling around us and we're constantly having to put it together. So, you know, you've asked us several times, what can I do to help you guys get your work done? This is one of those things. Let us see the subpoenas so we can overlay this in our timeline.
But you just want the subpoenas. You don't necessarily are going to get the response.
We have the responses. We have the records. But what the records don't tell us is what was in the subpoena. It's like a warrant return. What is a warrant based on? It's based on an affidavit.
So this is what you want. The paper that says
And the
this
exhibit,
is what we want.
And the exhibit A that's attached to that, which I didn't give you a copy of exhibit A, but exhibit A is attached to each one of those. And then it specifies to the company, you know, you're looking for phone numbers that are this, and this for these dates.
That doesn't have the date on that when it was served.
Those subpoenas tell us, we know when they are served because it comes back with a date on it. And then, and then the attachment A has the scope of what they've asked for. What we've gotten is the documents without, it's like not having the affidavit to the warrant return.
Okay. I think I understand that. And I'm going to go back to Ms. Jennings and just clarify. What have they been given already?
They have been given records in response to all 71 of those federal grand jury subpoenas.
Do they have dated on there? Because that's
Many of them do. You can see that from the description of the contents that I provided to the court. I can't say that all of them do, but many of them do.
Well, that's very important, apparently, for the defense, as Ms. Mathis said that timing is everything here. So I think that's what they're really after. That's one of the things they're after is just the time frame.
we can seek to inquire as to, because what I keep hearing is they need to know the date that these various companies received the subpoena. We can still inquire. It's provided on a lot of these, but on the ones we're missing, we can attempt to inquire and find out the date that it was served, and we can still do that without providing the piece of paper.
Well, besides the timing, what's the relevance to this this scope that was requested? And you know,
What's the relevance? But
yeah,
we're not relying on any of this.
I know. I don't think you're. What do you think they think is relevant?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, so what is the relevance? But aside with the timing, okay, and the scope.
Judge, I'm not going to give you the specific date right now in open court on one of the subpoenas, but they used a subpoena to get one of the most critical pieces of evidence in this case, and they know that.
Okay.
And they are going to use that.
It's something that I don't know about.
Well, I mean, you probably you do know of it. It's in the probable cause affidavit.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Jennings.
What I can tell you is that for the majority of the stuff, we did state search warrants, and we've received many of these records that way.
Okay, thank you. All right, enough with that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Maybe it's a time to, well, let's see, where you still have your argument. How long do you think?
Your Honor, my intention is to talk about the law that governs discovery requests and ask you to compel certain things. I'm going to go through our fourth request. I'm going to tell you a few things that we have, and then I'm going to tell you why you ought to order that the state give us the rest of it, how it's material to us, and how it's in the possession of control of the state. I'm going to do the same thing. I would say I'm going to talk 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Thank you. Your Honor, again, where I want to start is with Idaho Criminal Rule 16 that governs discovery. 16A directs which things are mandatory disclosures from the state. Those are things I don't even have to ask for. And those are items that the state has possession and control over that would tend to negate guilt or reduce punishment. 16B is the portion of the rule that governs when I request items in the course of my preparation of the case. And I would have the court keep in mind 16A and the prosecutor's responsibilities and Idaho Criminal Rule 16B and the discovery requests that we've made and what we have not received. We've asked for documents, we've asked for reports, we've asked for qualifications and summaries from experts, and we've asked for media that's been gathered in the case. The court can order other things that we ask for based on the need of the case. I would remind the court of the case that Ms. Massa just talked to the court about, State versus Pendleton. I know the court's familiar with this. This is a good case because it's recent and because it takes the time to define what's material and what's within the possession and control of the state. We need to think about our motion to compel in the order we are requesting from you in the context of what's in the possession and control of the state. Your Honor, the State versus Pendleton case says that any law enforcement, and this includes the prosecutor's office, it includes their staff, it includes any law enforcement that worked with them on the case. In this case, you're looking at Moscow Police Department, Idaho State Police Department, Idaho State Police Forensics Lab, and FBI agents, to name a few. So what those entities have and have developed are within the possession and control of the prosecutor. So with that backdrop, I want to run through our specific requests and talk about what we need. You've heard testimony, and so I think you know why these things are material, but let's go over it again. Starting with the fourth motion to compel. Ms. Massoff went over 1A, the grand jury subpoenas. I'm going to leave that argument alone. She did a fabulous job with that. When we're looking at 2A, this all comes from the defendant's 11th supplemental request for discovery. 2A is the video on King Street. Your Honor, we began asking for that a long time ago. We have it in full, so we don't have to talk about that. We received that full for all of the hours and days in question with both audio and video on 510. So we can mark 2A, item 219 off of our list.
219.
219.
And there, I've gone through pages and pages and pages. So I think I really appreciate you being very specific about, you know, what you have now and what you will still.
Okay. Good, because it's the only way I can keep track of it.
Yeah, well, same here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Your Honor, item 2B in our fourth motion to compel is item 224. That's the CAS biz log. And this one is rough. The court heard last week Detective Mowry say, I don't have any of those, except I found these other items that we'll give you now, which were not Mowry's CAS biz logs. The hard part for us about this one, Judge, and I have to make a record. I think you can order them to double check, and I'm going to ask you to order them to double check. But the hard part of this for me is that on January 9th, we asked for these CAS biz logs. And the response was from the state was CAS biz does not produce logs. And that's just not true. It does. It's capable. It produces logs. You've heard that in the testimony. Then we filed our motion to compel and explained we have an expert, we know it produces logs, we're going to bring them. And the response was the working files were not saved. We received that response on April 23rd, 2024. And then on May 10th, we got a little bit more explanation about default settings were used and optional session files were not uploaded. This is really, really difficult because of the varying answers that we've received. The court's heard testimony from Mr. Ray about how important these logs are to know what was done. This is really challenging. We can't recreate what Detective Mowry, who testified before the grand jury, did, unless the court orders that we get the tower list he used and we have the CAS biz program. And quite frankly, that's what we want. We need to see how this work was done. This is important work. I'll tell you the other thing that's really troubling and frustrating, aside from the other files that we received in preparation for motion to compel, is these screenshots that we got for the first time last week when we're on a motion to compel and have a witness before the court. We didn't have those screenshots that Detective Mowry had created before. The only thing we had was Exhibit 48 that was given to the grand jury, which is a video that was handed over then. So this is really problematic to be told these varying things and then have something else produced on the day of testimony. Your Honor, we are going to request that the court order that we have the tower list used by Detective Mowry and access to the CAS biz program. So our expert, Mr. Cy Ray, can go through and see what Detective Mowry did. That it's imperative that we be allowed to do that. That's the only way to recreate what Detective Mowry did.
It seems to me he did acknowledge that he just went back and provided this a day or 2 days before he testified that he found this additional information. So I'm thinking that the state got that information and had provided that to you. Now, we also heard a lot of the quotes missing pieces today, which I'm guessing that FBI, Mr. Valance and Detective Mowry are going to go back through that and see if there's something else. At this point, I'm assuming that, some things may have fallen through the cracks. I mean, it is very complicated. There was a lot going on. We have some time before trial. I just hope that everybody goes through their computers or their files or whatever they're going through so that it's complete. So what I've been watching over the last 2 months is that there have been supplemental responses to the defense. So things were coming in. They were waiting for information to come in so that they could provide that to you. So that's why I don't want to go backwards either. I just want to make sure that we are addressing what you don't have and what actually you're entitled to. So that's the tower list. I mean, I don't know anything about tower list, so I'm learning about that. I don't know that Detective Mowry addressed that, really. Maybe unless I missed that.
Your Honor, I believe he testified last week that he used the tower list that was contained in the AT&T record that he received. You heard today that that doesn't exist. And you heard today that the tower list was something different that he used. And that tower list had once that was entered, there was a selection on the program to do tower density as well. Like that.
Like I said, it's confusing.
It is. It definitely is.
We'll keep going now.
Okay, thank you.
You want the tower list?
Yes, I think I'm getting there, but I definitely want that. I want the one that Mowry used to do his CAS Viz work back in May of last year. That's the one I really want right now, at least at this juncture in the documents right now. I do want to clear up though, when we talk about what Detective Mowry found last week when he was preparing to testify, those are emails between him and Nick Balance. Those are JSON files from Nick Balance to Detective Mowry. None of those things that he found, other than screenshots like the exhibit that you have of his map with the different size towers depicted, other than those screenshots, the other things he had came from Nick Balance. Those were not his logs that he found. Those were not his towers that he found, just to be sure that those are still missing to the extent they exist. And we can't recreate what he did without the list and program. Moving on.
Thank you.
Moving on then, Your Honor, is item 226. That's called the Hemisphere Program, also known as a timing advance report. Your Honor, this is one of the troubling areas again. The first response was that the records do not exist. There were letters exchanged between the state and us asking for more information. In one of the letters from the prosecutor, we were told that this program was not used in Brian Koberger's case. And then we filed a motion to compel. And we were told that the state was not in possession of the timing records. And then the next supplemental response in May of this year, just a couple of weeks ago, was to tell us that there's some new certified records from AT&T that we're going to get. I don't know what those are. I can tell you that these timing advanced reports were asked for from AT&T, from Verizon, from T-Mobile, and another cell phone company. In both of the early AT&T warrants, we called them the 48-hour, and then the extended warrants back on December 23rd, 2022. We don't have those. So I just want to make a record that I need to know what happened. Moving on then to 228, item 228. That was trying to understand what was relied upon for the second AT&T warrant. And we heard quite a bit today from Detective Payne about what he relied on for that second warrant. And that had to do with what was produced and analyzed in the first warrant. However, we asked for some emails and some communications. We know about some text messaging that we've received, but we don't have written correspondence, emailed correspondence, exchanging information, just the text messaging. So we want all of the email communication between Payne and Balance, well, between anybody from Moscow PD and anybody from the FBI. Your Honor, item 229 is the MAID data. I would say we received a disclosure, and I think we got that on either 510 or 517. And I'm going to need some time to have an expert help me out with that. I don't know if that's complete. I also know that in the 5th motion to compel, there is information we've asked for from Daybell. That was a program that was used to help decipher some of the MAID data. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, but that one's yet to come. So I'm going to ask the court for an order compelling the state to give me all the MAID data. They may have already complied, though. Their intents to comply, I can tell you that.
What does that stand for again?
Mobile advertiser. Let's see, I've got it in here.
Okay, I'm glad.
Identification number, mobile advertiser identification number.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Judge, we are now talking about item 242, the CAST report. The history of this is we came to the court asking for the CAST report, knowing it was relied upon last year, and the court ordered that we receive it. We received one that was stamped draft all over it. You've heard testimony about that today from Mr. Ray, and it's not a final report, and we knew that when we got it. We asked for that. We asked for the analysis behind that, and we haven't received that. We were told on February 23rd of this year that the state will provide this by March 31st. Well, March 31st came and went, and we did not get it. So on April 23rd, the state said we still don't have it. And then on May the 10th, the state responded to this request and said that because we provided additional information, Mr. Koberger's alibi, they need more time to do work on this CAST report and they'll get it to us later. Your Honor, I think you ought to order that we get the CAST report. And I think you ought to order that we get everything that went into developing this and we get the analysis that they made from that. This is particularly troubling. Their response, you told us something, so now we have to go reconfigure the CAST report. Let me tell you why that's troubling. Item 243 is our request. Give us a list of everything Nick Balance relied on when drafting his CAST report. And we were told Nick Balance relied on the call detail records from AT&T. Nick Balance relied upon tower records, and he relied upon the drive test data. Nowhere in there does it say, if you tell us anything about the case, we need that to rely on that too. These are records that exist. These are tower lists that exist. They go into a program. You do drive testing to understand how the device interacts with towers, and you create a report. So we're asking the court to order that we get the CAST draft report, we get the full list of everything he relied upon, and we get the analysis of what does this mean.
So another clarifying question, maybe. So I listened to the testimony today, and that it sounded like a CAST report was provided, but maybe it wasn't complete, is what Mr. Ray suggested. But I think that maybe I'm guessing, we're assuming that the state provided what they had, but it may be, maybe they're still working on it. I don't know. But didn't you get initially what they had as they characterized as the cast report? So when you say, I mean, we have problems with language, I think, especially when we're in this area, technology. And so we might be just going back and forth like this without really understanding what we're asking for or what we're providing.
Let me see if I can clear that up. The testimony today, when we had Detective Payne on the stand, when we talked about what did you rely on to get the second AT&T warrant, he said that there was something that Nick Balance produced and that the prosecutor had it and he thought it was a cast draft. And then you heard from Mr. Ray, who said, I've seen the cast draft report and maybe it's something different that Detective Payne looked at. It wasn't this big long cast draft. The cast draft report, and I'm calling it draft because it's stamped draft. I knew it wasn't final when I received it. We got that because you ordered that the state give that to us last summer, last July. So I had this draft. I knew it wasn't final. Ms. Jennings knew it wasn't final. We've talked about it. We believed that we were going to get the final report by March 31st. We don't have that yet. It's the final report that we need. You also heard from Mr. Ray talking about the things that are mistakes in the cast draft report. These reports go through a peer review process and they can look a little different when they come back out on the other side. Usually not vastly different, but they can. They go through their process. It's that final product that I need that. I need to know everything they relied on to do their work. I need to know what this draft report is going to look like. The court should know that when we get to trial, likely Agent Balance is going to come in and talk about his cast draft report. He's going to be an expert in the field and talk about what he found and why he found and what he relied on to do that. I'm going to come in with an expert that's going to explain what his work did. Now, if the work aligns and Nicholas Balance and our expert aligns, well, that's just going to be shorter. But right now, it's definitely not looking like that. It looks like they're going to have their side and we're going to be talking about what the data shows. So what I want is the final report that we were told would be available by March 31st. I need time to work on it.
Sure.
What I want is a full list of what was used to create that report, what was relied on. I have to be able to see if I can recreate that. I have to see what was right with it and what was wrong with it. So I don't have those two things, right?
Is it possible that it's just not completed?
It is possible.
A final report?
It is possible, but I need you to order that come to me. And I don't think Ms. Jennings doesn't want to give it to me. But if you order that I get it, then I'm going to get it a lot sooner, I think. I'm not saying that Ms. Jennings is sitting holding it behind her back. I'm saying I don't now know what's going on. The FBI told her it was going to be in by March 31st. We hit our deadline to disclose our alibi. And all of a sudden now they need to redo something in their report, which shocks me because of the things they said that they relied on were things that already existed. So now I really need to know what they're relying on to do this report. And I really need to see the analysis and I really need to see the final report.
Sure.
I have to react to it.
Since we're talking about this, Ms. Jennings, do you want to just respond to that? Whether or not this is still a work in progress or what's going on?
Right, Your Honor. As I know right now, that report is not in its final form. And it has gone through a peer review process. My understanding is it's still in that. I have been told that yes, it's not a matter of redoing anything, but as they receive additional information, they just want to double check their work. They want to make sure that when they get the final report, it's accurate. So we are still waiting for that final report to ensure that it's accurate. And as soon as we receive it.
I'm sorry. You have a time frame for that? They told you when they expect to be finished?
I don't have a final time frame. They originally told us it was projected to be completed by June next month. So I'm hoping to get it within the next month.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Sometimes it's easier just to sort a particular issue at the same time.
Some of the hot ones, it might be your winner.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I do think we have the regional tower list now, so I think we're good with that.
She just needs to shut up now.
On item number 244 and 240.
Kit.
We have those documents.
I'm over here
We're
just
good there.
pulling my hair out. I just
Switch
can't.
over to the Daybell thing then. Yeah, she just drones on and on.
Yeah, shut up already, lady. Look at how many people are on the website here. Okay, and that's enough of you. Go to your room. Here we go, people. Here we go. It's 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Yep. Why is this doing that? I don't understand what's going on here. There we go. All right. How you doing? It's 9 o'clock. Jeez, that's crazy to me. All right. Oh, jeez. Good. Good. Boy, this is the year for trials, huh? There's another one that starts next week too. Shoot. Hold on a minute. Hold up, people. Oh, here, I'm gonna mute me because I'm being loud.
Amanda, I think so too. And we got a bunch of other cases that are actually arriving at verdicts today or tomorrow too.
Look at how he's sitting there. God, he's just, you're screwed, buddy. You're screwed. Here we go.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right, I apologize. It'll take me a moment here to get logged on and then we'll get started.
Come on. He's going to shard himself today.
Okay, we're on the record on case CR 22-21-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. The court's been advised that the jury has reached a verdict. The court will note the parties are present. The state's present with Mr. Wood, Ms. Blake, Mr. Wixom, and Ms. Beatty. Mr. Pryor's here representing the defendant, Mr. Daybell. And the court at this time is going to instruct the jurors to please be brought into the courtroom. That will include our alternate jurors as well to be seated. And then I will have the marshal get the verdict form from the jury once they return to the courtroom. So if they can come in at this time, we'll have them brought in.
All right, please. Here's our President Counter for you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right, the court's going to next just make a reference that there is a courtroom conduct order in effect in this proceeding to remain in effect. So I appreciate everyone complying with that order, as most of you have done throughout the proceedings in this case. At this time, then, the first matter I'd like to take up is to do a roll call of the jury for the record. So, Madam Clerk, if you could please conduct a roll call of our jury to make sure they're all present and properly seated at this time.
Juror number 1, red card number 27. Juror number 2, red card number 219. Juror number 4, red card number 631. Juror number 5, red card number 653. Juror number 7, red card number 752. Juror number 8, red card 1680. Juror number 9, red card number 823. Juror number 10, red card 1358. Juror number 11, red card 1365. Juror number 12, red card 716. Juror number 14, red card 997. And juror number 15, red card 1078.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for conducting the roll call. All right, at this time, I'm next going to inquire from the jury foreperson. Has the jury reached a verdict? All right, thank you. Mr. Bailiff, if you would please retrieve the verdict from the jury foreperson. Thank you. All right, the court has reviewed the verdict form. I'll note that all counts have been properly marked, as well as the verdict form's been properly dated and signed by the foreperson. The next step then is Mr. Daybell, if you and counsel would please rise. I'm going to have the clerk read the verdict.
Here we go, people.
In the District Court of the 7th Judicial District of the State of Idaho and for the County of Fremont. State of Idaho plaintiff versus Chad Guy Daybell defendant. case number CR 22211623. Verdict. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn to try the above entitled action for our verdict, unanimously answer the questions submitted to us as follows. Question number 1. In regards to count 1 of the amended indictment, is Chad Guy Daybell not guilty or guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Tylee Ryan and grand theft by deception? Guilty. Question number 2. In regards to count 2 of the amended indictment, is Chad Guy Daybell not guilty or guilty of first-degree murder of Tylee Ryan? Guilty. Question number 3. In regards to count 3 of the amended indictment, is Chad Guy Daybell not guilty or guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Joshua Jackson Vallow and grand theft by deception? Guilty. Question number 4. In regards to count 4 of the amended indictment, is Chad Guy Daybell not guilty or guilty of first-degree murder of Joshua Jackson Vallow? Guilty. Question number 5. In regards to count 5 of the amended indictment, is Chad Guy Daybell not guilty or guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Tamara Tammy Daybell? Guilty. Question number 6. In regards to count 6 of the amended indictment, is Chad Guy Daybell not guilty or guilty of first-degree murder of Tamara Tammy Daybell? Guilty. Question number 7. In regards to count 7 of the amended indictment, is Chad Guy Daybell not guilty or guilty of insurance fraud? Guilty. Question number 8. In regards to count 8 of the amended indictment, in regards to count 9 of the amended indictment, is Chad Guy Daybell not guilty or guilty of insurance fraud? Guilty. Dated this 30th day of May, 2024, and signed by the presiding juror.
All right, Madam Clerk, thank you for reading the verdict. At this time, I'm just going to collectively ask the jurors, all of you, is this in fact your unanimous verdict on each of those counts? Very well. At this time, I'm going to inquire if the parties wish to have the jury polled. Does the state wish to have the jury polled?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Does the defense, Mr. Pryor, wish to have the jury polled?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very well, then. I'm going to direct the clerk to record the verdict. At this time, then, this does conclude the guilt phase of this trial. Because the defendant has been convicted on counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, the state has filed a notice of intent to seek the death penalty, and so a second phase of this trial, called the sentencing phase, will be taking place next. We're going to take a recess at this time for approximately an hour. We will come back on the record and begin with the start of that sentencing phase of the trial. I would like to remind everyone that this courtroom conduct order is still in application throughout these proceedings. Thank you all for complying with that. We are going to take that recess at this time. Mr. Daybell is to remain in custody at this time for the commencement of the sentencing phase. And with that, thank you all, and we will be in recess.
Justice. Justice for Tammy, Tylee, JJ, and Charles.
Okay, my good people, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to restart a new stream. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, guys? Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
You linking me or what?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.